Comfort and style is available to fit any budget at More Furniture for Less. Save 33% off this queen-size reclaimed mansion bed, dresser, mirror, and nightstand. Save 38% off this dual-power reclining sofa. And save 28% off this dining table and 4 chairs. Save even more now at More Furniture for Less showrooms in Casa Grande and all Phoenix locations, including our 2 newest in Gilbert and Avondale.
At Mutual of Omaha, we listen only to our customers, not to Wall Street, not to outside shareholders. We listen to you. For over 100 years, it's how we've built honest, compassionate, and lasting relationships. And so, that's how we begin, by listening. To see how we can recommend the insurance that makes sense for you, call 800-88-LISTEN or find an agent at mutualofomaha.com.
12 News is everything Arizona.
I am here before you today saying the words I have never wanted to say, feeling the loss I have never wanted to feel. My father is gone. We gather here to mourn the passing of American greatness. The real thing, not cheap rhetoric from men who will never come near the sacrifice he gave so willingly, nor the opportunistic appropriation of those who lived lives of comfort and privilege while he suffered and served.
A man who seldom rested is laid to rest, and his absence is tangible, like the silence after a mighty roar.
It showed his irreverence, his sense of humor, a little bit of a mischievous streak. After all, what better way to get a last laugh than to make George and I say nice things about him to a national audience?
Wow, such powerful words by friends, former opponents, and family this weekend, honoring the legacy of Senator John McCain. Thanks so much for waking up with us on this Sunday morning. So glad that you're with us. I'm Mike Gonzalez.
And I'm Rachel Cole. You know, hearty laughs and devastated tears shed this weekend. The world preparing to say goodbye to Senator John McCain. The ceremony, watched by millions, was held at the National Cathedral in Washington, D.C. This after lying in state earlier this week, both in the nation's capital and right here in Arizona. Senator McCain is only the 31st American to ever lie in state in the rotunda.
Our team coverage continues this morning in Annapolis, Maryland, just hours before the senator's body is set to head to the Naval Academy for his final burial. Joining us live from D.C., our Team 12's Mark Curtis and Bram Resnick. Gentlemen, these past several days have truly been historic.
Mike, there's no question about it, and the long journey home for Senator John McCain ends here in Annapolis this morning, ironically the same place where it all began for him so many years ago at the Naval Academy. We've been here on the ground, Team 12 has, since Thursday, and it's been an absolute whirlwind of emotions for us. And if it's been emotional for us, you can only imagine what it's been like for the McCain family, having to share what should be a very private time as they bury their father with the entire country. I want to bring in Team 12's Bram Resnick, and Bram, you look at the greatness of this man, which we heard Megan talking about at his funeral yesterday. Finally, this morning, it comes to an end, and what a beautiful service we saw yesterday.
And John McCain personally designed that funeral to send a message to the President of the United States and to America. And his daughter Meghan McCain delivered that message, if you listen to her, with her father's classic straight talk while sharing with all of us her bottomless grief.
One minute, Meghan McCain was tearfully expressing her anguish over the loss of her father.
My father is gone, and my sorrow is immense.
And in the very next breath, she was delivering her own brand of ferocious straight talk to a man her father didn't want in the room.
The America of John McCain has no need to be made great again because America was always great.
Senator John McCain's funeral at the Washington National Cathedral was a testament to McCain's abiding belief in bipartisanship and lasting disdain for President Donald Trump. It must have been awkward for two of the 3,000 guests, President Trump's daughter Ivanka Trump and son-in-law Jared Kushner, invited by a McCain friend. Among the Washington who's who at the funeral, President Bill Clinton and 2016 Democratic presidential nominee Hillary Clinton, as well as Presidents Barack Obama and George W. Bush, who both blocked McCain's path to the White House.
After all, what better way to get a last laugh than to make George and I say nice things about him to a national audience?
President Obama used his relationship with McCain to make a larger point about patriotism in a Trump world defined by polarization.
We never doubted the other man's sincerity or the other man's patriotism, or that when all was said and done, we were on the same team.
President Bush also speaking to the times we live in.
If we're ever tempted to forget who we are, to grow weary of our cause, John's voice will always come as a whisper over our shoulder. We are better than this. America is better than this.
Toward the end of the ceremony, a respite from politics. Opera star Renee Fleming singing a John McCain request, Danny Boy.
Oh, Danny Boy, the pipes are calling.
The senator's widow, Cindy McCain, who didn't speak on this somber day, was moved in a way words can't express.
And we saw a who's who of Washington and America inside the cathedral. Outside afterwards, we saw actor Warren Beatty, his wife, actress Annette Bening. We saw Dikembe Mutombo, former basketball star. And before that, we saw comedian Jay Leno. Just a view into the wide, wide world of John McCain.
You know, I have never had personally, and I want to get your take on this, a mix of emotions in covering a story the way I have this story. Not only because I respected the senator, but also because I feel that in a way we have intruded in an area where we shouldn't be intruding. But when you live the kind of a life that John McCain did, it goes with the territory.
It does, and John McCain knows that very well. And don't forget what I said at the top. John McCain designed this funeral so that people like us would help transmit his message to the world. I understand the privacy of the family, but this is what John McCain wanted.
And I'm glad that they will have this moment today when they finally bury him at the Naval Academy Cemetery. Rachel and Mike, that'll do it from here for now. We'll be back in a few minutes.
Mark and Brem, before we let you go, I do want to ask you a question. Meghan McCain, obviously a powerful speech yesterday, lots of overtones to President Trump. On the ground, how did that resonate in D.C.? Because it got quite the reaction, obviously, here in Arizona. But what are you guys hearing out there in the nation's capital?
Well, Mike, it's interesting. You know the old saying, the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And I would tell you that this was classic McCain speaking out today in a message that went loud and clear without specifically saying anything.
And I was inside the cathedral. I was stunned by two things. First of all, her speech, and number two, people applauded, which you
never hear.
You never hear at funerals applause. Right. I want to add one thing to that, though. The largest round of applause went to former President George W. Bush after he spoke. That was widespread and sustained. Meghan's was a little sporadic. I'm not sure people felt comfortable applauding in some cases.
But sometimes, and maybe in the case of John McCain, when you hear an impassioned and sometimes angry speech, a eulogy the way that Meghan did, maybe it goes with the territory. Guys, coming up in a couple of minutes as we continue, and we'll be on the air for the next hour and a half or so as we continue here from Annapolis, we'll give you a look at the really gorgeous scenery where Senator McCain will be buried along his beloved Severn River, which he talks about so eloquently in his book. And we'll also, we're standing right in front of the Naval Academy where John McCain, the legacy of John McCain started so many years ago. So we'll give you an inside look at that. That'll be when we continue in just a couple of minutes.
All right, Mark Curtis and Bram Resnick out there in Maryland for us this morning. Thanks a lot, guys. And you know, Mark said it feels a bit intrusive, but really the McCain family, we saw them come out of the Capitol here and shake hands with all of the well-wishers that came to see Senator McCain lie in state there at the Capitol.
Yeah, there's been so many powerful moments over the past several days. Well, as chair of the powerful Indian Affairs Committee, John McCain's work on laws for the Native American community spanned water rights, gaming revenues, even the preservation of artifacts.
Tribal leaders say even in times of contention, the senator was willing to work with them and show true respect.
Team 12's Antonio Mejia shows us the significance of a Native American flutist during Thursday's ceremony at the North Phoenix Baptist Church.
A traditional piece by a Native American duo. One of them, Jonah Little Sunday, played impromptu.
When I practiced with my my friend Aaron White, we were like, okay, you know, this happened. But when I went up there, something else happened. Some kind of life started. The song started to emerge. I forgot about the cameras, and I was just there just to comfort this family.
Comforting others in moments of grief is precisely what he uses his talent for. But only if his wife Pauline is there. You see, Jonah has a severe case of stage fright, and only she has the ability to calm him as he plays.
I get very nerve-wracked, even though I've been through therapy, medication. Nothing seems to work, and it's always been my wife.
It's home, it's family, it's us.
At Cindy and Megan's request, Jonah was asked on a sudden notice to perform at Senator McCain's funeral.
Of course we were going to come down and support him, especially to use my flute to help heal in any way.
Whether it's here or back out playing for our cameras, Jonah simply follows the beat of his heart to help others find peace.
And I saw the heartache that was there, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to do the best I can, the best way I can to help heal this family in this moment.
Jonah tells us that the special invitation to come play out here at Senator McCain's funeral came after he and his wife met Cindy and Megan McCain at a private event earlier this year. In Phoenix, Antonia Mejia, 12 News.
Antonia, thanks so much. Certainly was a beautiful part of that ceremony. Of course, Team 12 will be there to bring you the ongoing coverage of the late senator's national send-off with crews on the ground in Washington, D.C.
And stay with 12 News, 12news.com, our app, and of course our social media for the very latest.
The Employee of the Year, Anna.
Progress is in the pursuit. Audi will cover your first month's lease payment on select models during the summer of Audi sales event.
I put a spell on you. Yeah, because you're mine.
With Chase ATMs, Serena can now grab cash on the go, all with the tap of her phone. No card, no problem. Life lived Serena's way. Chase, make more of what's yours.
Want to sell your home in 72 hours at full market value? This is Greg Haig. At Haig Partners, we developed a program designed to sell any Arizona home at full market value in just 72 hours. Our home selling program is so effective it's been featured in Forbes. It's easy, it's fast. Sell your home at full market value in just 72 hours. Just put in your address and get a price for your home at 72sold.com. That's 72sold.com.
When we moved with DSL, we experienced the law of internet slow zones. So we switched to Cox. Their law of moving states that Cox has fast speeds everywhere, which you can enjoy after a day of dealing with other laws of science, like gravity, opposing forces, and laws of attraction? Ew, it's romantic.
Cox has gig speeds available everywhere. Cox high-speed internet starting at $29.99 a month.
All right, welcome back to 12 Today. We are remembering Senator John McCain, who finally laid to rest today at the Naval Academy. It's been 5 emotionally wrenching days since his passing this past Saturday, but it all started at the state capitol here in Arizona, where he lied in state. Thursday, North Phoenix Baptist Church. Friday, he lied in state at the state capitol, the United States Capitol. Saturday at the cathedral in Washington, and today he will go back home where he so wanted to be, at the U.S. Naval Academy.
In the background, you can see there in D.C. the flag at half-staff flying for Senator John McCain. And back here on 12 Today, we are going to send things back out to Maryland in just a few minutes, where Mark Curtis and Bram Resnick have been there since Thursday covering this story wall to wall. But we do want to get to some other headlines making news. The search for 2 missing boys continues. An Amber Alert remains active this morning following a double murder in Phoenix.
If you were in the Valley yesterday, you probably got that alert on your phone. Team 12's Adam Bagney live in the Alert Center this morning with the latest on this investigation. What do you know, Adam?
Hey guys, good morning. Well, we know that this alert was issued Saturday afternoon for 2 boys ages 8 and 5. Police say their father is the person who kidnapped them. Authorities issuing a warrant for his arrest this morning. The probable cause, 3 counts of murder, and he's now wanted in the deaths of 2 people, including the boy's mother. You just saw who is pregnant. You just saw photos of them on your screen a moment ago. 34-year-old Coronado Dimas, along with his 2 sons, 8-year-old Victor Nunez and 5-year-old Jonathan Nunez. That's who we're talking about here. Phoenix police say they responded to a call around 4:30 a.m. yesterday at the 3200 block of West Van Buren Street, and that's where they found the boy's mother, 24-year-old Oralia Nunez, along with 34-year-old Omar Gonzalez, both victims shot to death. Officials believe Coronado originally took his boys in a 2009 white Chevy Silverado, but that vehicle was located. It's empty. He's now thought to be in an aqua green Ford truck with a Mexican license plate, ZUD 7164, with a white camper shell. Here's police.
The children, as a result of the tragic events that occurred, may be potentially in danger.
Also say they've documented incidents of domestic violence at the home in the same location location that they were at in the past. If you've seen this man, his boys, or the trucker involved, please call Phoenix Police. The suspect should be considered armed and dangerous. We're live here in the Alert Center. Adam Bagney, 12 News.
All right, Adam, thanks so much for those details. Let's get a look at what else is happening in our area. A frantic search on the water is happening right now after 2 boats collided on the Colorado River north of Lake Havasu. The force of the collision causing all 16 people on board that watercraft to be tossed into the water. As of this hour, 10 of those victims have been taken to Vegas area hospitals and 4 still missing. Dive teams are on the scene. If we get any new information, we'll certainly let you know.
Well, a judge has barred the release of body camera videos taken by officers who responded to the scene of a state trooper being killed just weeks ago. The judge saying while Arizona law recognizes a strong policy of open access to public records, he's concerned potential jurors would be exposed to excerpts of the videos if released. The ruling comes in the case of Isaac King, who you see there. He's charged with murdering Trooper Tyler Edenhofer during a struggle.
Well, surviving a lightning strike may seem like a very lucky break. And it really is, let's be honest. But for 2 El Mirage boys, it also had a lot to do with the people who helped them right after it all happened.
Team 12's Jessica DeNova shows us the ceremony honoring the men and women who acted fast to keep those 2 alive.
It really is a miracle that just 3 weeks after getting struck by lightning, these boys were able to walk into this fire station to recognize the people who saved their lives.
I'm so honored to be standing here, not at my son's funeral.
An emotional mother forever grateful after an everyday citizen and 9 first responders saved her son and his friend.
They should deserve the spotlight, not me.
The group honored for helping 2 boys struck by lightning at an El Mirage park. A surveillance camera catching the unbelievable moment.
I didn't really think of anything. I kind of just did it. And then
Corey Sosinski running out of his home after he heard the bolt to find 2 boys on the ground. Josiah Weidman was unconscious.
And then I checked for a pulse and there wasn't one, which was kind of scary. And then I just started doing CPR.
The 2 lucky boys finally getting the chance to express their gratitude 3 weeks later.
Of course, man. I'm just glad I could be there.
Thank you for everything you've done. Now I can actually live my whole life.
Some getting to see Josiah and Javier Tapia for the first time since it all happened.
I mean, the most important thing is knowing that they're okay.
Humbly saying they were just doing their job.
It's always great to be recognized, but we don't look for that. You know, we got into this job just to help people.
They're the ones who are actually kept me alive and the reason why I'm still walking on this earth.
The fire chief emphasized the importance of everyday people knowing how to administer first aid. You can greatly increase the chances of someone's survival by knowing how to administer CPR. You can head to your local fire department for direction on where to learn those skills. We're in El Mirage. Jessica De Nova, 12 News.
All right, thanks a lot, Jessica. 12 News is everything Arizona. And this week, we continue to honor the man known as the Maverick, Senator John McCain. In less than 10 minutes, we'll hear from Team 12's Bram Resnick and Mark Curtis on today's private ceremony. That's right after the break. Stay with us.
It's possible for people to sit down together and engage in cooperative problem solving. Create an atmosphere again where there's room for civil debate.
Connect with the candidates as 12 News proudly presents the Sandra Day O'Connor Institute Debate Series.
Questions, answers, unbiased coverage. 12 News. It's a matter of facts.
Come into a California Closet showroom to experience our quality materials and construction and collaborate with our designers to create the perfect custom solution for any room. Go to CaliforniaClosets.com to request a free design consultation and locate the showroom nearest to you.
Labor Day is our biggest event of the year. Stop by and take advantage of the best bargains on bedroom furniture anywhere. We have over 100 selections to choose from. Choose beds or full sets at unbelievable prices. Whether you're looking for a traditional elegance, simple or contemporary style, you'll find it here at American Furniture Warehouse. Come in and find the perfect bedroom collection at your hometown furniture store.
American Furniture Warehouse.
With thousands of unique items arriving daily at your neighborhood Goodwill stores, expect the unexpected.
12 News is always on.
Anytime and everywhere.
Every weather alert.
Every photo.
Every video.
Every story.
Every moment.
24/7. Everything Arizona.
Welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us here on 12 Today. We want to show you some of the pictures sent in to us by our viewers using the hashtag Beyond12. Some gorgeous photos of the Grand Canyon there, and some somber photos. We've seen a lot of people post pictures with Senator John McCain, sharing stories of when they've come across him, met him. You see some beautiful nature pics there. We want you to go ahead and send us those pictures and use the hashtag Beyond12.
All right, weather-wise today, I tell you what, Trisha, this morning I woke up, went outside, and it was like a breath of fresh air. It felt really good out there.
Can you believe we have double-digit lows?
It's so
and
nice.
Then I saw 99, but then it kind of pushed it over the edge, so it looks like 102 is our high today. But I'm working on those double digits, you guys. So taking a live look in Baltimore, Maryland out here. This is about 30 minutes away from Annapolis, where McCain's burial is taking place today. A closer look here in the valley. Statewide, about a 25 to 30 degree difference between here in Phoenix, which is 83 right now, 60 degrees up in Flagstaff. Boy, it is really cooling off. Fall is on the way. Up in the Grand Canyon, 57. Over in Kingman, 78. Working our way down to Yuma, usually one of the hottest spots on the map, 86 degrees right now. Here in the valley, a closer look again, 83 in Phoenix. That's consistent with Tempe, 82 in Scottsdale, 83 in Glendale as well. Over in Tolleson, a beautiful 86. 26 degrees right now. Here's a look at our 12 News exclusive monsoon meter. This is always exciting to see which numbers pop up on our map. In northern Arizona, a 4 today, so we could see some storms and showers in the high country, specifically the inner basin of the San Francisco Peaks. Here in the valley, a 2. Over in western Arizona, just a 1. So we're really not expecting anything there. Kind of a slim to 0 chance, if you will, for storms and scattered showers. 6 in the White Mountains. So this is where we're really focusing in on in the Wallow Fire burn scar area. So places like Springerville and Eager, they really may get hit hard in the PM hours tonight. In southeastern Arizona, just a 3. Turning things over to our monsoon bullet points. Labor Day weekend, valleys looking dry, spotty in the mountains, so specifically in the northern and eastern portions of our state. Also a lot of dry time in the mix as well. Taking a look at your 7-day forecast, a high of 102. Again, tomorrow 100. So we're getting closer to that double-digit mark as the week moves along. We'll be right back.
OfferPad, and we want to buy your home. We're the new way homes are sold. Just go to OfferPad.com, enter basic information, and the next day, we will send you a great offer. It's that easy. Selling to OfferPad means no showings. You pick your closing day, and we'll even move you locally for free, freeing up you to live your life. We've helped thousands of happy home sellers, and we'd love to help you. We're your online home buyer with a human touch. So get excited. Take that next step. We're here to help. OfferPad. Move freely. Request your free purchase offer today.
Joining us live from the Today Show set, Arizona's own Savannah Guthrie.
Hi, Paul and Emma. Great to be with you.
Hoda Kotb.
Al Roker.
Good to see you,
It
kiddo.
is so great to see you.
I just want to say it's a thrill to be with you guys in Phoenix. Emma, are you coming to New York?
Everyone, it's Emma Jade, and we're on the Today Show Plaza.
Savannah, we had a viewer text us just a second ago asking if you'd ever come back.
Arizona is a magical place. I'll always come home.
12 News
And the Today Show.
Some things just go together.
It's possible for people to sit down together and engage in cooperative problem solving. Create an atmosphere again where there's room for civil debate.
Connect with the candidates as 12 News proudly presents the Sandra Day O'Connor Institute Debate Series.
Questions, answers, unbiased coverage. 12 News. It's a matter of facts.
12 News is always on.
Anytime and everywhere.
Every weather alert,
Every photo.
every video,
Every story.
every moment.
24/7. Everything Arizona.
Not only is it a challenge to forecast, but it also can pose a threat. Monsoon can affect everyone in Arizona. We're not out of the woods yet. Monsoon can be scary and very unpredictable, and I'm here to help keep you and your family safe.
Welcome back right here on 12 Today. This weekend, many of you got to watch the memorial service for Senator John McCain in Washington, D.C. But back here at home, hundreds of people gathered at Tempe Beach Park.
That's right. Veterans, military, first responders, all honored at the 6th annual 9/11 Heroes Run. Team 12's Monica Garcia tells us why this year participants felt they were sharing the day with a maverick.
When everyone is running from danger, these are the men and women right here in our community running towards it.
Protect my country and my community.
The 9/11 Heroes Run is a celebration of what veterans, military, and first responders stand for. Now 17 years after the 9/11 tragedy.
I was a sophomore in high school when 9/11 occurred, and I remember that that's exactly what I wanted to do, is go help out, be a Marine, and protect my country.
Andrew Gonzalez now serves with the Mesa Police Department and SWAT.
I live by the ethos of doing more than what's required of you, just like General Patton said. And
Travis Haley is a veteran force reconnaissance Marine, having served 15 years. But even he feels the need to say thank you.
to me, heroes, a different term. I don't ever consider myself a hero, and I don't think anybody that's ever served does either. If I consider a hero, if you want to see heroes, go to Arlington National Cemetery. There's thousands
Meanwhile,
and
at
thousands
the
of them
same
there.
time, another hero's tribute. the National Memorial Service for Senator John McCain in Washington, D.C. No surprise, everyone was happy to share the day.
Huge reminder, right, of who we are, where we come from, our roots.
The person he was, the type of veteran he was, a great public servant he was.
Monica Garcia, 12 News.
And Team 12 continues to honor the life of Senator John McCain this weekend. For details, ceremonies, and events happening around our area, head to our website, 12news.com. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Here's your Buick, sir. Actually, that's my Buick.
Your Buick doesn't have a roof rack.
This is my Buick. How are we gonna fit in your mom's Buick?
Easy.
I like that new Buick.
Me too.
I was actually talking about that Buick.
I knew that.
Did you?
Buick's fresh new lineup is full of surprises. It's Buick's kickoff event. Get 20% below MSRP on most Encore models when you finance through GM Financial. That's around $5,200 below MSRP on this Encore Preferred.
It's resourceful, elusive, shrewd. Cancer is smart. It pushes us. We push back. We even push each other to challenge conventional thinking, find smarter solutions. That's what makes us one of the leaders in precision cancer treatment, forging ahead with technology that wasn't available to cancer patients just a short time ago, like advanced genomic testing, a diagnostic tool that lets us see cancer at the molecular level, then helps us find different ways to target it, and immunotherapy, a treatment that actually makes your immune system smarter, trains it to attack the cancer in your body. This is what we live for, giving our patients compassionate care by offering them more precise and less invasive treatment options than before. Cancer Treatment Centers of America. We're not just fighting cancer anymore. We're outsmarting it. And we're now seeing patients at our new outpatient care centers in North Phoenix and Scottsdale.
Everyone remembers where they were on 9/11. I was deployed to the Middle East, led airstrikes against the Taliban, and was the first woman to fly a fighter jet in combat. I know the price of freedom. While we were in harm's way in uniform, Kirsten Sinema was protesting us in a pink tutu and denigrating our service. The world is a dangerous place. We need strong leaders who understand the threat and respect our troops. Kirsten Sinema fails the test. I'm Martha McSally, and I approve this message.
Thanks so much for staying with us on this somber Sunday. I'm Rachel Cole.
Yeah, so much emotion. And I'm Mike Gonzalez. Thanks for waking up with us this morning. Well, it's no secret that Senator John McCain was loved by many. He was known as a champion for truth and diligent service to this country. The man known as the Lion of the Senate will truly be missed.
And this morning, family and friends gather for a private burial at the U.S. Naval Academy. Team 12's Mark Curtis and Bram Resnick live in Annapolis for us right now. Good morning, Mark.
Yeah, hi, Rachel. You talk about this man's legacy and his career. You know, when you're born into a naval family and your father and your grandfather are both admirals, there is little doubt what your career path will be or where you'll attend school. And so it was for John McCain, who came here to Annapolis to attend the Naval Academy. And that's really where his legacy was born. John McCain's remarkable story begins and ends in the same place, at the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. In 1954, a young John McCain arrived a newly minted plebe, checking into Bancroft Hall, the largest dorm in the world, and since 1845, the home of all Navy cadets, including McCain, who from his earliest days would buck the trend of conformity, a foretelling of the life that he would lead.
He was a cut up at the Academy, and there are lots of stories of him at the Academy that can't be repeated, most of them, but nothing but respect for a man that served his country and served it well.
As a cadet, the Naval Academy Chapel is where McCain prayed, and now it'll be the place where others pray for him.
It's humbling to have someone like that serve our country, and it's makes you proud to know that there are people like that.
As a Navy officer and as someone who graduated from the Academy, what does it mean to you that he chose Annapolis to be buried in instead of Arlington National?
Well, this is our home.
When I ask you about John McCain, what comes to mind, sir?
Bravery, character, everything the Academy stands for.
Calm winds and following seas, sailor. May you sleep in peace. Well, you talk about a life well lived, Bram. That was the senator to a T. He did it all. He did it his way, had fun along the way, lived every minute of every day, and is dying and will be remembered as a hero.
And we're at the Naval Academy. 4 generations of McCains have attended this place, and this is where John McCain wanted to be buried, next to his good friend Chuck Larson, Admiral Charles Chuck Larson, also the class of 1958. The two were very close friends when they were at the Naval Academy and stayed that way until Chuck Larson's death in 2014. John McCain wrote about where he wanted to be buried at the end of his memoir that came out in May on the banks of the Severn. So let's show you an aerial view of the grave, the cemetery here at the Naval Academy. You're looking at an aerial view right now. Banks of the Severn. John McCain wrote about that romantically. Chuck Larson finished first in their class of 1958. John McCain, as we've said many times, fifth from the bottom. The future maverick revealed right here, the rebel we would come to know in later years. He was always the life of the party, and Chuck Larson's wife described him as Chuck's wingman. Let's listen to his widow, Chuck Larson's widow, Sarah Larson, tell us how they came to be buried next to each other for eternity.
Chuck came home one day and he said, I picked out my grave. And I went, oh, okay. And you know, when you do that kind of thing 20-some years ago, you don't think that's ever going to happen. So I kind of nonchalantly said, oh, that's fine, good. And he says, and by the way, John's going to be next to me. And I went, oh, okay. But you think that's that was 20-some years ago. So, and then all of a sudden it hit that, oh my goodness, we are they will be next to each other, and it's kind of cute as somebody said, Chuck has his wingman back now.
At the services today here at the Naval Academy, Lieutenant Jack McCain, John McCain's son, will be wearing his father's Navy wings when he delivers a eulogy. It gives me a chill.
So fitting, and when you talk about Chuck Larson, who bought all 4 plots for both the senator and Cindy McCain and Larson and his wife, he was the commander-in-chief of the U.S. Pacific Command, which also was held by John McCain's father.
That's right. Chuck Larson was a Navy star, one of the youngest admirals ever. He commanded a submarine. He was also a fighter pilot. This guy could do it all, and yet the bond between him and John McCain was that of brothers, really.
After the burial in just a few hours, which will be private, by the way, we turn the page. Tomorrow, of course, is a holiday. And then it'll be interesting to see if John McCain's lasting wish, which was a return to civility in this country and more bipartisanship, if that's just a pipe dream, or if we could somehow get there as a country.
Well, we know what's coming next week here in Washington, D.C., hearings on the Supreme Court nominee, Brett Kavanaugh, and that ain't going to be beanbag.
All right, we'll have more on that coming up, guys.
Gentlemen, first of all, such powerful work out there. I mean, it's really hard to control emotions. Mark, you talked about it being a private ceremony. How much access will you have as media today, and what will we get to see?
Mike, 0. All we will see when the procession arrives here will be one shot of it going through the gate at the Naval Academy, and that'll be it. Once they're through there, it will be completely private, both the service at the U.S. Naval Chapel, U.S. Naval Academy Chapel, and then the actual burial on the Severn River, absolutely private, so we won't be able to watch. And maybe that's an appropriate thing. In fact, I think it is, that we give the time to this family to grieve privately, because everything else has been so open to the public.
Yeah, they certainly have been generous with sharing John McCain with the world. Gentlemen, thank you so much.
All right, we'll check back in with them in just a few minutes. Of course, Team 12 will be there to bring you coverage of the late senator's burial as much as we can be. And we've got crews on the ground there in D.C. as well as Maryland.
Stay with 12news.com, our app, and our social media platforms for the very latest. Stay with us.
That's live from the Today Show set, Arizona's own Savannah Guthrie.
Hi, Paul and Emma. Great to be with you.
Hoda Kotb.
Al Roker.
Good to see you,
It is
kiddo.
so great to see you.
I just want to say it's a thrill to be with you guys in Phoenix. Emma, are you coming to New York?
Everyone, it's Emma Jade, and we're on the Today Show Plaza.
Savannah, we had a viewer text us just a second ago asking if you'd ever come back.
Arizona is a magical place. I'll always come home.
12 News
And the Today Show.
Some things just go together.
So I switched to CenturyLink Internet. It's great. My price is set for life.
For life?
For life.
They can't do that.
Yeah, no contract either.
What, no contract?
No contract.
They wouldn't do that. No, they wouldn't do that.
We did that.
Guys, I'm telling you.
Introducing CenturyLink Price for Life Internet with no contract, no bundling needed, and no rate hikes. Keep your rate as long as you keep your plan. Switch now at CenturyLink.com.
It's simple. People count on you, and you count on your truck. So we built you the most capable line of Ram trucks yet. The all-new Ram 1500 delivers best-in-class V8 towing. The Ram 2500 has best-in-class gas towing, and the Ram 3500 gives you best-in-class fifth-wheel towing. That's why more people are switching to Ram than ever before.
Hurry to the Ram Labor Day sales event. Or well-qualified lessees of competitive vehicles get a low-mileage lease on the 2018 Ram 1500 for $179 a month.
Hey, sweetie.
Dad, you'll never believe what happened at school today. Sarah and Jeremy got into the...
You're not thinking about how she left her light on or if she locked the front door. You're thinking about how the only words she's not saying are go away. You're thinking about how Madison unfollowed Taylor? How you don't get what she's saying, but you're happy she's saying it to you. You're not thinking about her light or the door. Well, maybe just a little. Stay close to the moments that matter. Cox Home Life takes care of the rest.
Welcome back, everyone. You're taking a live look at downtown Phoenix. You can see the Arizona Diamondbacks Stadium there. We're going to check of our weather with Miss Tricia Hendricks in just a few minutes. But for now, some more headlines making news right here in the Valley. The search continues for two missing boys linked to a double homicide in Phoenix. Now, police believe 8-year-old Victor and 5-year-old Jonathan Coronado Nunez may have been taken by their father, Dimas Coronado.
Yeah, this as police accuse that 47-year-old man of shooting and killing the boy's mother and her roommate. Team 12's Adam Bagney live in the Alert Center this morning. Any new details, Adam?
Yeah, we've got a number of new details this morning. You might have gotten this alert on your phone yesterday. It was issued Saturday afternoon for two boys ages 8 and 5. Police say their father is the person who kidnapped them. Authorities issuing a warrant for his arrest this morning. The probable cause, 3 counts of murder, and he's now wanted in the deaths of 2 people, including the boy's mother, who police say was pregnant at the time this happened. 34-year-old Coronado Dimas, that's who police are looking for, as you mentioned, along with his 2 sons, 8-year-old Victor Nunez and 5-year-old Jonathan. Phoenix police say they responded to a call around 4:30 a.m. yesterday at this 3200 block of West Van Buren Street. That's where they found the boy's mother, 24-year-old Auralia Nunez, along with 34-year-old Omar Gonzalez, both of those victims shot to death. Officials believe Coronado originally took his boys in a 2009 white Chevy Silverado, but that vehicle was located empty. He's now thought to be in an aqua green Ford truck with a Mexican license plate ZUD 7164 with a white camper shell. Here's police.
The children, as a result of the tragic events that occurred, may be potentially in danger.
And police also say they've had documented incidents of domestic violence at that same location in the past. It's Dimas Coronado. If you see this man, his boys, or the vehicle involved, please call Phoenix Police. The suspect should be considered armed and dangerous. We're live here in the Alert Center. Adam Bagney, 12 News.
All right, thanks a lot, Adam. Here's a look at other news this morning. The NTSB issued subpoenas for the medical records of both drivers involved in the deadly crash near the New Mexico-Arizona border. 8 people were killed and dozens hurt. A semi-truck blew a tire and slammed into the Phoenix-bound Greyhound bus. New Mexico investigators have identified 5 of the 8 people killed, which includes the bus driver. Their ages ranging from 34 to 50 years old. Police have not yet confirmed if any were from this area, but say at least one of the 48 passengers that was on the bus is being treated here in the Valley.
One man is recovering after a shooting near West Roosevelt Street in Phoenix. Police say they are still looking for the shooter at this hour. The victim was shot in the shoulder and is expected to survive. It happened just after 8:30 last night. Anyone with information is asked to call 480-WITNESS.
All right, some good news out of Surprise this morning. Police say a missing man with dementia has been found safe. Officers issued a silver alert last night after 78-year-old Marion Apolinar walked away from his home on North 135th Drive.
And a judge has barred the release of body camera videos taken by officers who responded to the scene of a state trooper who was killed. The judge saying while Arizona law recognizes a strong policy of open access to public records, he's concerned potential jurors would be exposed to excerpts of the videos if they were released. The ruling comes in the case of this man, Isaac King, who's charged with murdering Trooper Tyler Edenhofer during a struggle. And coming up in less than 3 minutes, we're taking you back to Sedona, where some of Senator John McCain's neighbors and friends are remembering his life.
That's live from the Today Show set, Arizona's own Savannah Guthrie.
Hi, Paul and Emma. Great to be with you.
Hoda Kotb.
Al Roker.
Good to see you,
It is
kiddo.
so great to see you.
I just want to say it's a thrill to be with you guys in Phoenix. Emma, are you coming to New York?
Everyone, it's Emma Jade, and we're on the Today Show Plaza.
Savannah, we had a viewer text us just a second ago asking if you'd ever come back.
Arizona is a magical place. I'll always come home. 12 News and the Today Show.
Some things just go together.
Everything kind of happened young for us. We've got 4 kids and they're growing. We just built our dream home. I wanted to incorporate the dream closet.
The first time I saw my closet, my reaction was holy.
That was one of those moments where I'm like, yes, I finally did something right.
You get a lot of things right. To some people, it's just a closet. But for me, it's the journey of where we've ended up.
We're Justin and Gurjeet, and this is our California closet story.
It's possible for people to sit down together and engage in cooperative problem solving. Create an atmosphere again where there's room for civil debate.
Connect with the candidates as 12 News proudly presents the Sandra Day O'Connor Institute Debate Series.
Questions, answers, unbiased coverage. 12 News. It's a matter of facts.
12 News is always on.
Anytime and everywhere.
Every weather alert.
Every photo.
Every video.
Every story.
Every moment.
24/7. Everything Arizona.
Not only is it a challenge to forecast, but it also can pose a threat. Monsoon can affect everyone in Arizona. We're not out of the woods yet. Monsoon can be scary and very unpredictable, and I'm here to help keep you and your family safe.
Welcome back at 8:45. Want to get you updated and back to some breaking news that we've been following all morning. This out of the northwest part of our state, a frantic search on the water happening right now after 2 boats collided on the Colorado River north of Lake Havasu. The force of that collision causing all 16 people on board that watercraft to be tossed right into the water. As of this hour, 10 of those victims have been taken to Vegas area hospitals. 4 still missing. Dive teams are on the scene. If we get any new information, we'll certainly keep you updated. Stay tuned right here and to 12news.com for more information. Well, with many people going out on the water today and tomorrow, you obviously need to be really cautious.
Yeah, certainly do. And you know what? It can come quickly, a dangerous situation. And Team 12's Monica Garcia is live from Lake Pleasant with some do's and don'ts out on the water. Monica, what can you tell us this morning?
Well, hey, Rachel, Mike, we want people to have fun this holiday weekend, but mainly we want you to stay safe. So that brings us out here to Lake Pleasant. We're at Pleasant Harbor with some of your boating tips. And I will tell you that just take a look around, okay? So Chad, the GM, tells me that the water levels are a lot lower than what you're used to seeing. So let's talk to him about that, okay? How are you doing this morning?
Good.
Okay, so talk to me about the water levels and how it's changed drastically.
We're down. This time of year, the lakes always goes down, but this year we're lower than normal. So we're down 66 feet. So a lot of the land masses and the islands and so forth of the lake are really starting to pop up. And you really have to navigate around, watch yourself in shallow water.
Okay, so you said if folks were out here just around 4th of July, take a look at that. What can you tell us about that body of land?
So that island in itself is a prime example. If you were out here on the 3rd of July celebration that we hold, that was completely underwater. Your boat very well could have been floating above that.
So that means the shoreline has changed. Now, there's no actual speed limit out here. So what do you suggest to people?
Just operate your boat in a safe manner. You know, watching out for other people is the big thing. making sure that you have a spotter, you have a designated driver who's watching out for other boats, follow the rules of the lake. And the most important thing is, helps us all out greatly, is if you have a map. This map can be gotten at both marinas here at Pleasant Harbor or at Scorpion Bay. Grab a map, know where you're at. So if you do have an emergency, you need to call 911, you can tell them exactly where you're at.
Yeah, because it's really beautiful out here, and it's kind of hard not to just keep going and going, but if you have that map, you're going to be safe. Okay, so just take a look around. Right now, the lake it's calm, it's peaceful, but Chad says around 10 o'clock, it's going to start picking up with those people who are already staying out here. There's a lot of RVs, families arriving and getting ready to have a fun, exciting date. Now, speaking of families, we want people to use common sense when it comes to boat safety. So I have Mike Selmer here with Peoria Fire Department. What's the best advice you can give people?
Well, right now, I guess we want to come out here and remind people that we don't want to be drinking and operating a boat or any kind of other watercraft. We do want to have a good time. We want to emphasize that. We want everybody to go home safe.
Yes.
But we want to remember a few other quality things like wearing sunscreen out here, wearing hats, protecting yourself from the elements. It's going to be a really nice day today. The news will show you it's going to be about in the mid-90s. They're expecting a lot of people out here. Yeah. So
just common sense.
Common sense. Be alert. Watch your children around water and boats, and just be safe. And remember to hydrate. That's very important out here. And
Drink
it's
lots
forgotten.
of water. Okay, thank you so much, Mike, for talking to us. And I will say that kiddos under the age of 12, they need to be wearing those life jackets. It's very important. Again, we want you to have fun, but we want you to do it in a safe manner. On Lake Pleasant, I'm Monica Garcia. 12 News. Back to you guys.
All right, certainly good suggestions, and you can't harp on that enough. Wear a life vest, and 12 and under, that even seems a little bit young.
You forget about that, but it's so important, obviously, not to drink and boat, because a lot of people do that, but the weather's going to be really nice.
Oh, there's going to be a ton of people out there, as you heard, whether they're in the RVs or the boats, they're going to be out on the water.
It looks glorious out there. Mid-90s. Does it get much better than that? I know. I'm definitely going to have to hit up Lake Pleasant this week sometime. All right, taking a live look. This is not in Phoenix. This is actually in Baltimore. This is about 30 miles north of Annapolis, and that's where Senator McCain's burial is taking place today. Temperatures are remaining in the high 70s, so this is going to be a gorgeous day, and low 80s through the peak hours of the day. All right, looking closer to home here in downtown Phoenix, this vantage point is one of my favorites. Taking a live look outside at Camelback Mountain, definitely warmer, so definitely going to be 90s and into the triple digits as the day progresses, but right now it's looking absolutely fantastic. 83 degrees in Phoenix, 85 in Tempe, 84 in Chandler. Looking far out to the west part of the valley at Luke Air Force Base, 84 degrees, 85 in Surprise. Our highs today, though, we're not going to sit pretty in the 80s for long, because this is what we're up against. 102, which I'll take it. That's a lot better than 110, 115, right? 84 in Sedona, 80 in Payson, 76 in Show Low, and 83 degrees for folks in Globe. Thanks so much to our 12 News weather watcher, Yvette Hoffman, for sending in this gorgeous photo from Douglas, Arizona. I hear they got some rain in that area, so that's nice. That will help us out for our drought conditions. I love this shot of the sunrise. We really have a lot to brag about when it comes to our sunrises and sunsets, so be sure to share your photos with us using the hashtag Beyond12. Also, go to our 12 News Weather Watchers Facebook page, and you may even see your photos pop up right here. On our 12 News exclusive monsoon meter, check out the White Mountains, a 6. So while we may not have much in the way of scattered storms and showers here in the valley where we just have a 2, we may see more to the north, a 4 in northern Arizona, much more than southeastern Arizona where we just have a 3, and a 1 doesn't look promising for folks in western Arizona today. Our Labor Day weekend monsoon bullet points: valley looking very dry. So those dry conditions will remain. Spotty in the mountains, lots of dry time in the mix, especially for folks up in Flagstaff and the inner basin of the San Francisco Peak. So a high of 102, mostly sunny skies. We will be right back as we continue to track your weather forecast.
It's all new and on sale.
This weekend, the Labor Day sale at More Furniture for Less.
All new bedrooms, living rooms, and dining rooms on sale.
The new styles for your home are in stock and on sale.
Get our guaranteed lowest prices on bedrooms, living rooms, and dining rooms, all marked down.
The huge Labor Day sale. This weekend at More Furniture for Less.
At all Phoenix locations, including our newest, now open in Gilbert and Avondale.
With thousands of unique items arriving daily at your neighborhood Goodwill stores, expect the unexpected.
It's here!
Here comes the man.
Use your Labor Day purchase cash to get nearly $11,700 total value on this specially equipped GMC Sierra SLT when you finance through GM Financial.
Welcome back, everyone. It's another jam-packed weekend for Arizona sports.
Hey, you got to go to the game, ASU. There
yeah,
you go.
they killed
Big
it.
win. All right, well, from the Herm Edwards debut, there you go, to the announcement of the Cardinals roster. Team 12's Cameron Cox has you covered on what you need to know in this morning's hot sports headlines.
Good morning, everyone. Here are your 12 Sports hot headlines after months of waiting. All the hype, it's finally here. Herm Edwards, the train, leaving in Tempe, and boy, it was fun to watch. Those who questioned if Herm could still coach, ha! ASU scored 2 touchdowns in the first 2 minutes. Just get it to the best receiver in the country. Manny Wilkins, the flip to N'Keal Harry. Adios, amigo. 58-yard touchdown, 7-0 ASU. UT San Antonio gets the ball, and they just give the ball right up. Shannon Foreman, the big man with the big-time Oski. How about them Sun Devils? ASU up 14-0. You know, UTSA, they're not very good, but that defense got after them. 8 sacks, forcing 3 turnovers and holding the Roadrunners to just 2 yards rushing. ASU put up 300 yards before the half. Eno Benjamin, $131 on the ground. ASU up 28-0 at the break. Harry put him away with this video game like using cheat codes. I'm a grown man, you're not. Touchdown. 6 catches for $140, 2 touchdowns. Manny Wilkins tossed 4 TDs. ASU rolls 49-7. Biggest home win since 2010. That Herm Edwards Express is 1-0. Can't say the same thing about Kevin Sumlin and the Arizona Wildcats. It took them almost the entire game to get it together against BYU. They scored 13 straight in the fourth quarter. J.J. Taylor makes it a 1-score game, 28-23. But BYU, they just run out the clock. And yeah, that's how it would end. Wildcats drop the opener at home. Hey, how about them Lumberjacks? The biggest upset on Saturday. NAU beat UTEP 30-10. What a catch there from Emmanuel Butler from Mountain Point High. It's NAU's first win over an FBS school since 2012. Hey, the D-backs bullpen did it again. Great. Up 2-0 in the 8th. Archie Bradley gives up the 3-run bomb to Matt Kemp. Dodgers win 3-2. D-backs and Dodgers now tied for first in the NL West.
These are the tough ones. No. You show up tomorrow and you win. You want to put the loss on me? Put it on me. I gave up 3 hits, 3 runs. It's on me, but they're not that hard. If you think one game in September is going to define me or this team, then, go ahead, count us out. It's 1 game in September. We have 29 more.
Kudos to Archie for taking that one on the chin. Cardinals set their 53-man roster for now. That's this morning's Cam's Cardinals Clipboard. So let's play who's in and who's out. Notable cuts include wideout Bryce Butler, who at one time was supposed to be this team's number 2 receiver. Also gone, Greg Little, Elijah Penny, and Cap Cappy. Who's in? cornerback Brandon Williams, along with 5 undrafted rookies: Zeke Turner, Dietrich Nichols, A.J. Howard, Dennis Gardeck, and Trent Sherfield. Plus, they activated defensive end Marcus Golden and tight end Jermaine Gresham from the physically unable to perform list. Hey, today we're still keeping an eye on the Cardinals. Who are they going to add to their practice squad? Are they going to go after any other players that were cut from other teams around the league? We'll have all that for you tonight on 12 Sports tonight at 10:30. Plus, it is the final game of the series, the rubber match between the D-backs and the Dodgers. They can tie up the series today and, of course, take sole possession of first place in the NL West. We'll recap ASU's big win last night. What is wrong with Kevin Sumlin and the Arizona Wildcats down in Tucson? All that and more. 12 Sports tonight, 10:30. See you then.
All right, Cam, we're certainly looking forward to it. And our coverage of the life and legacy of Senator John McCain continues in just a few minutes. Stay with us.
Haven't been playing golf this year. I'm sorry about that.
Progress is in the pursuit. Audi will cover your first month's lease payment on select models during the summer of Audi sales event.
When we moved with DSL, we experienced the law of internet slow zones. So we switched to Cox. Their law of moving states that Cox has fast speeds everywhere, which you can enjoy after a day of dealing with other laws of science, like gravity, opposing forces, and laws of attraction? Ew.
It's romantic.
Cox has gig speeds available everywhere. Cox high-speed internet starting at $29.99 a month.
It's possible for people to sit down together and engage in cooperative problem solving. Create an atmosphere again where there's room for civil debate.
Connect with the candidates as 12 News proudly presents the Sandra Day O'Connor Institute Debate Series.
Questions, answers, unbiased coverage. 12 News. It's a matter of facts.
Joining us live from the Today Show set, Arizona's own Savannah Guthrie.
Hi, Paul and Emma. Great to be with you.
Hoda Kotb.
Al Roker.
Good to see you,
It
kiddo.
is so great to see you.
I just want to say it's a thrill to be with you guys in Phoenix. Emma, are you coming to New York?
Everyone, it's Emma Jade, and we're on the Today Show Plaza.
Savannah, we had a viewer text us just a second ago asking if you'd ever come back.
Arizona is a magical place. I'll always come home. 12 News and the Today Show.
Some things just go together.
You're saying goodbye to a legend, but it also, I think the service also designed to make you think about what you're supposed to be doing for America and how, especially us as elected officials, are supposed to be acting and comporting ourselves.
The fact that he picked two men that defeated him in political battle, not only unpredictable, but just such a reflection of who John McCain was.
Democrats, Republicans, all came around to celebrate his life. I think that's what it says. Let's get back to the politics of decency.
You see local leaders there reflecting on the character of Senator McCain as his family prepares to say one final goodbye. Today, the longtime leader will be laid to rest in a private ceremony at the U.S. Naval Academy. Thanks so much for waking up with us this morning, you guys. I'm Rachel Cole.
And I'm Mike Gonzalez. Thanks so much for being with us this morning. The world watched this weekend as political leaders, colleagues, and former opponents remembered the Maverick. Our Mark Curtis and Bram Bresnick join us live in Washington, D.C. this morning. Gentlemen, it has been so rare to see all these leaders from both sides of the aisle come together.
No question about it, and maybe the ultimate act of friendship and respect by Chuck Larson to buy grave plots for his good friend John McCain.
Right, and they did that. Chuck Larson, Admiral Chuck Larson, good friend, they met here at the Naval Academy class of '58. Chuck Larson did that 20 years ago. 20 years ago, they decided they wanted to spend the rest of their lives together.
Along with their wives.
Along with their wives right next to them.
That's still a couple of hours away here in Annapolis. Meanwhile, In a couple of days, the nation returns to business as usual. And part of that will be the Kavanaugh hearings, which we'll watch closely because I think we'll be able to tell a lot by the tone and tenor of those hearings if John McCain's death really meant anything on a wide scale.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, we now return to regularly programming, already in progress when we get back to the Kavanaugh hearings. You'll see the Dems over here, the R's over there, and they'll be fighting over this nomination. I think what happened over the last several days, we'll only know if there was an impact in a few years. I think it's just going to have to steep and sit for a while among people, young people even, who saw it.
I have not seen this country as close together and as moved to the center as it is really since 9/11 as it has been over the last few days with the passing of Senator John McCain. But as you mentioned, now we get back to the business as usual, the programming as normally scheduled, and John McCain's calls for bipartisanship and a coming together, a reduction in the rhetoric. Will that ring true? Yesterday we had a chance to talk to some of the folks as they came out of his funeral, and we asked, can this country, which has been so divided, come back together?
Bipartisanship requires leadership, and so that turns to the people who are in leadership positions, and decision as to whether or not they'll reach across the aisle, get to know people on both sides of the aisle, and show the kind of respect that bipartisanship demands.
And maybe this can be a refresh or a reset on what is important and special and shared among every American.
It's suddenly focused what he stood for and what is so terribly needed right now.
The people have to elect people who want to get things done and work with people across the aisle. As soon as the people send those kind of people to Congress, yes.
Forgiving each other. If he could forgive, the tormentors in Vietnam, those who tortured him, then surely we can forgive each other.
So maybe a return to statesmanship, it's a nice thing to think about. Will it happen in reality? Who knows? But that'll be the national story. Locally, it will be Governor Doug Ducey, who now has an important task ahead over the next week or so, maybe 2 weeks, and that is to pick a successor to John McCain.
John McCain has a very big decision, and I believe this is the first time in Arizona history a governor will have to appoint a senator. Doug Ducey has said he's not going to appoint himself. I asked him when he's going to reveal his decision.
So next week we'll conduct the process. This is an irreplaceable man in the United States Senate, but I will fulfill my responsibility.
Do you expect to name a successor as soon as the end of next week?
I would like to do it as soon as possible, but what's important is that we pick the best possible person regardless of politics.
Do you want somebody who has a McCain kind of connection in any way? Or
I want the person that can best represent the state of Arizona and the United States.
I'm not going to speculate about any names, but I will tell you this. It's been reported that President Trump spoke to Governor Ducey after John McCain died. He'll have a big say in this. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell will also have a very big say in who Doug Ducey appoints. They want someone who is a definite yes on killing Obamacare. They do not want to see another thumbs down.
Well, so much for a non-return to the partisan rhetoric, but we'll see what happens over the coming days. And guys, we'll toss it back to you for a few minutes, and then we'll come back with some final thoughts as we wrap things up here in Annapolis. And we're still about 2 hours away from the expected arrival of the funeral procession for John McCain. And then when that happens, we'll come back on the air.
All right, Bram, Mark, wonderful work out there. We really appreciate it. We'll see you here in a bit. All right, McCain's legacy is also impacting students. An AP U.S. history class at Queen Creek High School is learning all about the senator.
That's right. Team 12's Brandon Hamilton stopped by to hear their thoughts on the statesman.
Unpredictable.
Maverick.
Admirable. Inspirational.
A patriot or a countryman.
It's very imaginable. Brave. Patriotic man.
You'd expect him to, because he was a prisoner of war, you expect him to be just down and out, but no, he didn't let anything stop him, not even brain cancer.
I think John McCain was a great senator, and I think it's very sad that he had to go in the way he did, but I think he was very respectable and personable and really admirable in that way.
Senator John McCain was a really great guy, and I didn't really know too much about him, but from what I've been learning just over the past week is that he's extremely inspirational, did things out of what he thought was right more than what other people were trying to tell him what to do.
He was always speaking his mind and doing what he thought was best for the country.
I mean, he was a good man and a good senator. He voted for what he thought was right and didn't let anything get him down.
John McCain, yet again, he is a war hero. Even the people who captured him and held him even came to his farewell in D.C. He is also a national hero. He did help anybody who needed help. He didn't care for the cause. He didn't care about the personal needs of the person he wanted to help.
He was held as a prisoner of war in Vietnam for over 5 years, and he was brutally beaten and tortured, and I think it's super respectable that he was able to come out of that and still serve his country. Like, a lot of people, they wouldn't be able to go through that and, I don't know, like, be the kind of person that he was.
We are dealing with high school students, so they're just at the beginning of the political process and learning what's going on. So hopefully, if anything, I would have hoped to instill some respect.
Pretty incredible stuff there, huh?
It certainly is, and you heard the one student say she hated to see the way that John McCain went, but another congressman had said, John McCain showed us how to live, and then he showed us how to die. I mean, did he not?
Yeah, no, just so emotional these past 5 days, and to me what struck me covering it since he lied and stayed at the Capitol was not the amount of friends that he had, but sort of the multitude of their makeup. I've seen blacks, Hispanics, whites, Republicans, Democrats, far right, that all came to pay their respects. And I think Grant Woods, his former chief of staff, really put it in perspective when he said, you know what, we all want to see a little bit of John McCain in ourselves, you know, to try to live up to that mantra, but, you know, it's almost impossible.
Right, and as the gentleman said there in Maryland, Mark Curtis and Bram Resnick there for us live, you know, it's big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
And it's not an easy task to tackle, but
yeah, so
it's got to get done.
We'll see what the governor decides. Of course, Team 12 will be there this morning for the coverage. As you saw Bram and Mark out there, we're following all the details on 12news.com. Stay with us.
Spencer's Labor Day savings are here. Every manufacturer has lowered prices, and Spencer's has exclusive rebates for additional savings through Labor Day. Save big on this giant GE refrigerator with water and ice, only $9.99. For this hot point washer or dryer, only $3.49. Now is the time to get to Spencer's with savings on every brand at all 10 locations. Spencer's Labor Day sell down. It's like having a friend in the business.
Come into a California Closet showroom to experience our quality materials and construction and collaborate with our designers to create the perfect custom solution for any room. Go to CaliforniaClosets.com to request a free design consultation and locate the showroom nearest to you.
Cancer is smart. It pushes us. We push back, challenging conventional thinking, finding smarter solutions. That's what makes Cancer Treatment Centers of America one of the leaders in precision cancer treatment, using tools like advanced genomic testing and immunotherapy to bring more options to our patients. We're not just fighting cancer anymore, we're outsmarting it. And we're now seeing patients at our new outpatient care centers in North Phoenix and Scottsdale.
Put a spell on you. Yeah, because you're mine.
With Chase ATMs, Serena can now grab cash on the go, all with the tap of her phone. No card, no problem. Life lived Serena's way. Chase, make more of what's yours.
With the 12 News app, everything Arizona means everything that matters when you need it. Breaking news and real-time updates on weather, traffic, sports, and more, including live broadcasts on 12 News. Download the free 12 News app now.
Spencer's and GE Labor Day savings. It's like having a friend in the business.
Welcome back to 12 today. It's 9/11. So glad that you woke up with us this morning. Got some mild temperatures as we wake up. It feels really good out there today. 87 degrees right now. Let's take a look at our money lines. According to Airlines for America, a record 16.5 million people are expected to fly on U.S. airlines worldwide over the Labor Day holiday. The influx of travelers adds to the massive gains by airlines across the country this month, and more than a 10% jump in airline stocks across the board. Airlines are seeing more last-minute bookings, which tend to be business travelers who on average pay more than leisure flyers.
Starting September 21st, parents will be able to check their children's credit scores for free. The new federal law was put in place to protect kids following an increase in identity theft cases involving minors. While most children will not have credit histories until they reach age 18, government data shows more than 1 million children had their identity stolen just last year alone. The new law also allows adults to freeze and unfreeze their own credit accounts at an unlimited number of costs free of charge. A fun new breakfast item is now on the menu at fast food chains like Hardee's and Carl's Jr. Fruit Loops mini donuts. There you go. The donuts come in 5 bright colors inspired by Kellogg's iconic cereal. Taste testers say they smell and taste just like the real thing.
That's the best part of
A
this.
5-pack of mini donuts will cost you $1.99, and although there's no set end date for the release, the donuts are only available for a limited time.
That'd be nice because the real thing kind of always scratches the roof of my
Right,
mouth.
yeah, you just
Hits you
taste
too, yeah.
blood after a little while.
Well, the makers of tofu turkey are suing the state of Missouri over a new law that prohibits meat substitute products from being labeled as meat. Well, under the law, tofu turkey, that's kind of basically what they call it. Other companies would have to be more technical than branding, changing things like tofu turkey. Original sausage include words substitute or imitation. The state argued the law protects consumers from the misrepresentation of product labeled meats that are not derived from harvested livestock or poultry. We just call it gross. We'll move on from that story.
That's right. Our coverage right here of the life and legacy of Senator John McCain continues all morning long right here on 12 News and 12news.com. Stay with us. We're going to be right back after a short break.
Live from the Today Show set, Arizona's own Savannah Guthrie.
Hi, Paul and Emma. Great to be with you.
Hoda Kotb.
Al Roker.
Good to see you,
It is
kiddo.
so great to see you.
I just want to say it's a thrill to be with you guys in Phoenix. Emma, are you coming to New York?
Everyone, it's Emma Jade, and we're on the Today Show Plaza.
Savannah, we had a viewer text us just a second ago asking if you'd ever come back.
Arizona is a magical place. I'll always come home. 12 News and the Today Show.
Some things just go together.
With thousands of unique items arriving daily at your neighborhood Goodwill stores, expect the unexpected.
The new Sears outlets are having a huge summer blowout sale. We've got the largest selection of home appliances on display in the Phoenix area, period. With up to 70% off the top brands, appliances, tools, bedding, furniture, and more. As is, out-of-box, scratch and dent, and one-of-a-kind means huge savings for you. Selection and savings at the huge summer blowout sale at the new Sears outlets. Come in for the savings right now. Sears Outlets.
Cox has all my entertainment in one place. Using the Contour voice remote with direct access to Netflix, I can easily navigate my kingdom. Just say, The Crown.
Take the Cox Challenge. Get a better bundle with Contour TV, voice remote, and up to 100 megs internet. Just $89.99 a month. Now with easy access to Netflix without switching remotes.
I think it's clear who holds the crown for entertainment. Go online and take the Cox Challenge today.
All right, welcome back. Hope you are having a great morning at 9:16. We've got some beautiful pictures for you this morning.
Yeah, we always want our viewers to send us photos using the hashtag #Beyond12 of places all over the valley. We are everything Arizona. We've been in Payson, Flagstaff, Prescott. Oh, where will Crystal Henderson go next? You'll have to stay with us to find out. But in the meantime, send us your photos. Use that hashtag #Beyond12.
Yeah, we have such beautiful countryside here in Arizona. All right, now to our 12 News Verify. When you pick up that cup of delicious brew, you think you're getting a quick energy jolt, right? But what's really in that cup? Caffeine, creamer, bacteria?
Say it
Don't
isn't
know.
so. I hope not. There's been a lot of bad press lately about Keurig coffee makers having slimy, uncleanable water tanks that really can cause illness. So to find out if that's true, we consulted Keurig, cross-checked the fact-checking source Snopes, and read up on cleaning tips from Good Housekeeping.
And we can verify, yes, Keurig machines get moldy and can make a person sick. That is if they're not cleaned on a regular basis. But That's true for most coffee makers, right? Not just Keurig. So Keurig recommending putting distilled vinegar in the reservoir every 3 to 6 months to keep the machine clean and filtered properly. So as we all breathe a sigh of relief.
You know, I have a Keurig packed in its original packing up in my closet. I don't even use it.
Yeah.
We've got tons
more
around
than one
here.
cup, and I don't have the patience.
Well, we know Keurigs are legendary in this.
In our
newsroom.
break room.
They're everywhere.
We
I
need to buy
love
some
it.
vinegar,
Love it,
apparently, right?
Yeah.
Make sure there's none of that slimy stuff.
No,
On our
not at
weather
all.
story, yeah, exactly. On our weather story today, things are looking absolutely gorgeous in Maryland. Here's a live look at our webcam. This is in Baltimore. This is about 30 miles to the north of Annapolis, where Senator McCain's burial is taking place today. Temperatures are going to remain in the high 70s and low 80s, so a beautiful day in that area. Closer to home here, this is our vantage point from Phoenix South Mountain. I love this shot, one of my favorite spots to hike growing up. It looks like blue skies, a little bit of haze in the distance there. That may be some of the remnants from moisture we received moving in from southern Arizona. I hear they had some raindrops in places like Safford and also in Douglas. So current temperatures right now, 87 in Phoenix, 85 in Tempe, also 85 over in Glendale, 88 for folks in Tolleson this morning. But this will quickly change as the day moves along, specifically in those peak hours of the day between 2 and 4, even into the evening hours, 5 and 6 o'clock tonight. 84 in Sedona, up north in the beautiful Red Rocks. Looking further north, 71 degrees in Flagstaff. And you know what this means? If this is the high, the low is going to really be dropping down. So that's when they really like to shine up there. This is what I like to call prime time in the inner basin of the San Francisco Peaks. Also, one of my favorite spots on the map. 12 News weather watchers, we have a lot of photos pouring in, so be sure to join the conversation. Join our group. This is Lisa Reed and Ash Fork. Check out those colors popping off the screen. Our 12 News exclusive monsoon meter. It looks like not a lot to speak for here in the valley, just a 2, a 1 in western Arizona. But for people up in Flagstaff, anywhere north of the rim in the Grand Canyon, a 4. So looking a little more promising for things like lightning, strong winds, blowing dust, and in the higher terrain specifically. So the White Mountains to eastern Arizona, places like Springerville and Eager and the Wallow Fire burn scar area, they may see some storms today, specifically in the evening hours. So maybe not right now, but as the day progresses, we may see some rain. It's all up to Mother Nature though, right? Turning things over to our bullet points for Labor Day weekend. Valley is looking dry, but of course we do have that slim chance. It's about a 10% chance for storms and showers in the evening hours. Spotty up in the mountains, lots of dry time in the mix. The dew point, this is something I always like to look at because it can get pretty uncomfortable, specifically over in places like Bartlett Lake, Lake Pleasant. So right now, 64 in Phoenix. So a lot of times over in the areas where we have our lakes, it's the moisture is higher, but right now in Phoenix, 64. So that hint of humidity is closer to the steamy mark right now, unfortunately. Storm chances today with a high of 102, 5 to 10 mile per hour winds coming from the southeast. And then tomorrow, it's getting so close to the double-digit mark, so I'm really hoping that will change. 78 is our low, so all of these lows, that's a nice time to enjoy your cup of coffee in the early morning hours. We're gonna hit those lows right after the sun comes up. Mike, over to you.
All right, thanks so much. And today, Senator McCain will be laid to rest at the U.S. Naval Academy. His body will arrive there in about an hour. Private ceremony at 11 o'clock. Our coverage of today's ceremony continues on 12 News and 12news.com. Stay with us.
It's simple. People count on you, and you count on your truck. So we built you the most capable line of Ram trucks yet. The all-new Ram 1500 delivers best-in-class V8 towing. The Ram 2500 has best-in-class gas towing. And the Ram 3500 gives you best-in-class fifth-wheel towing. That's why more people are switching to Ram than ever before.
Hurry to the Ram Labor Day sales event. Or get 0% APR for 72 months, plus no monthly payments for 90 days on the 2018 Ram 1500.
Joining us live from the Today Show set, Arizona's own Savannah Guthrie.
Hi, Paul and Emma. Great to be with you.
Hoda Kotb.
Al Roker.
Good to see you,
It is
kiddo.
so great to see you.
I just want to say it's a thrill to be with you guys in Phoenix.
Emma, are you coming to New York?
Everyone, it's Emma Jade, and we're on the Today Show Plaza.
Savannah, we had a viewer text us just a second ago asking if you'd ever come back.
Arizona is a magical place. I'll always come home. 12 News and the Today Show.
Some things just go together.
It's possible for people to sit down together and engage in cooperative problem solving. Create an atmosphere again where there's room for civil debate.
Connect with the candidates as 12 News proudly presents the Sandra Day O'Connor Institute Debate Series.
Questions, answers, unbiased coverage. 12 News. It's a matter of facts.
Not only is it a challenge to forecast, but it also can pose a threat. Monsoon can affect everyone in Arizona. We're not out of the woods yet. Monsoon can be scary and very unpredictable, and I'm here to help keep you and your family safe.
12 News is everything Arizona, taking you everywhere from A to Z. Gilbert and Queen Creek feature small businesses that drive innovation. They also offer great dining and plenty of outdoor activities. Next week, we're in Gilbert and Queen Creek.
Welcome back to 12 Today. You're looking at a shot of the United States Capitol where flags are at half staff as they continue to honor John McCain, who will be laid to rest at where he really wanted to be, the Naval Academy. That's just going to happen in a few hours. Family and close friends will say goodbye to the hero, longtime politician, father, friend, Senator John McCain. Leaders from both sides of the aisle spoke to McCain's legacy at a ceremony in Washington, D.C. Saturday.
And this morning, his body will be moved to its final resting place at the U.S. Naval Academy in Annapolis. And there he will be laid to rest near his longtime friend, Chuck Larson. Team 12's Mark Curtis and Bram Resnick live there right now to tell us the latest. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Rachel. We're just about 2 hours away, maybe a little bit less, from the finale of Senator John McCain's long journey home here, where he'll be buried at the Naval Academy. And before we talk about details on his funeral, which will be private, Bram, I wanted to get your thoughts. He was called, rightly so, the Lion of the Senate. As I look at it, and you certainly are very in tune with this, is there anyone that can replace, as you look at it, the Lion of the Senate?
Well, I thought Senator Jeff Flake said something really interesting yesterday. He said, you know what? John McCain could not get elected today in this Republican Party. And he's probably right about that. There are some, maverick-type senators out there. Ben Sass of Nebraska comes to mind. But right now, there's nothing to be gained by being that person. That time will come. That moment may come. It very likely will, but right now it's not like Tuesday morning somebody's going to walk in the Senate and be the lion.
Look, Senator McCain's dying wish, I guess we could say, or at least his dying message was a return to civility and a lessening in this hyper-partisanship that we see. We know that President Trump is not going to change, and if you believe that that hyper-partisanship starts at the top, that the Republicans move further to the right, then the Democrats in kind will move further to the left. Is there any hope at all?
Let's look at it this way. About 60 days from Tuesday, there's an election. You don't see partisanship dying down during an election. In fact, it gets uglier. So let's wait till maybe the beginning of next year, see how that election turns out, and then have this conversation again.
But I would come back at you when you say that and say that's part of the problem, is this fear of being primaried and not getting reelected if you're incumbent says that you have to march to the drum of these hyper-partisan people that will elect you or vote you out of office before you even get to office or return to office.
We will see a change when politicians decide it's the right thing. It's the good thing to do. It's the smart thing to do politically. Hopefully it's the right thing to do. But these days, it'll probably be the politically right thing to do.
Then maybe it has to start at the grassroots level as opposed to the national level.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah.
It's going to take time and maybe a new generation.
Maybe. Let's talk quickly about John McCain scripted his funeral from beginning to end, and today it ends. And some once again, some very poignant moments will take place today, which we will not see.
That's right. The entire service today is off limits to the media. This is going to be an intensely personal, family-oriented service. His mother's going to be there. There are going to be children and grandchildren there. Give the McCain family some room. Millions of people have watched them grieving over the last several days. They've borne it extremely well. This is their private moment, their most intense moment with family.
Mike and Rachel, we won't be able to show you, but we can tell you that Vietnam vets and POWs will be part of his pallbearing crew this morning. They will carry his body from the hearse to his gravesite. Very appropriate, since John McCain's legacy is forever tied to his time as a POW in Vietnam. We'll toss it back to you, and we'll be back live on the air in about an hour and a half when his procession is expected to make its way through the gates here at the Naval Academy.
All right, gentlemen, thanks so much for being live there on the ground for us today. And we can see cars just filing in as they join the family for that final farewell for the senator.
All right, Mark and Bram, thanks so much. We'll see you here on 12 Today in about an hour. Thanks for watching.
Thank you for watching Arizona's most watched station, home of your favorite shows, official home of the Arizona Cardinals, and everything Arizona.
Running a small business and keeping a family happy is a full-time and a half job. We were building our new dream home. We were looking for something beautiful that would work well with our family. I love my closet. I can get dressed in there. I can iron my clothes in there. It even has a washer and dryer. It was the best decision that we had ever made. My name is Jody, and this is my California closet story.
So I switched to CenturyLink Internet. It's great. My price is set for life.
For life?
For life.
They can't do that.
Yeah, no contract either.
What, no contract?
No contract.
They wouldn't do that. No, they wouldn't do that.
We did that.
Guys, I'm telling you.
Introducing CenturyLink Price for Life Internet with no contract, no bundling needed, and no rate hikes. Keep your rate as long as you keep your plan. Switch now at CenturyLink.com.
Contour. Pause. I love this song.
Yeah, Feel It Still.
Wait a minute. Pause. What?
The song, Feel It Still?
No, I don't feel it. You know what? Never mind. Contour, what song is this?
What do you know?
Contour's voice remote gets you right to the good stuff.
Download the 12 News app for everything Arizona.
When you see this symbol, you know you're watching television that's educational and informational. The More You Know on NBC.
Hi, I'm Lauren Thompson, and this is The Champion Within. Today, the unbelievable story of how the game of golf is impacting a small town on the outskirts of Rio de Janeiro.
We have a booming project with 120 kids. This is a great chance at a better life.
Then learn how this Olympic sprinter's gold medal success began with this great-grandmother coach.
There's so much people that contribute to where I am as an athlete today.
The young athlete holds his arm around a white-haired older woman's shoulder. They walk together. And golfer Justin Rose opens up about an emotional tribute to his father.
The relationship we had, the bond we had, all unbelievable. When I look back at it, I'm grateful for what I was able to achieve in that short period of time to give him peace of mind.
And later, see how Jamie Anderson's unique upbringing helped pave the way for her snowboarding success.
Tahoe was kind of like our daycare. Me and my sisters would go up pretty much every day. It was such a special childhood.
She launches off a ramp and flies through the air. It's all coming your way on The Champion Within.
The title appears over a stadium as cameras flash from the stands.
Welcome to The Champion Within. I'm your host, Lauren Thompson, and over the next half hour, you'll see the most awe-inspiring sports stories from around the world. And we begin in Japeri, a small town on the outskirts of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, that's become an unlikely home for the game of golf. It was born hundreds of years ago in the sand dunes of Scotland. Beginning as a grand game of kings and queens, molded to the island's peculiar beauties and character. But golf was destined to become so much more. A sport of the people.
Olympic athletes
a pastime
compete.
to be
Fire shoots
embraced
out of
by the
5
world.
Olympic rings.
That's why the game belongs back on sport's biggest stage, and why it's fitting that this stage is next emerging in a city like Rio de Janeiro. A city of 11 million people, and just 2 private courses.
You don't have public golf courses, so the access to the courses are very difficult.
Sports
So
author
that's, I
Marcelo
believe,
Stallone.
the reason the sport's not popular here.
It's a concern that the R&A has been working to address for nearly a decade, before Rio was even named the Olympic host city. The mission has been constant throughout: bring the game of golf to the people of Brazil. And the mission can be witnessed on the outskirts of Rio, in the small town of Japeri. Here, work is hard to come by, and those that do have it leave for the city early and return home late, which leaves the children of Japeri exposed to any number of difficulties.
Public Golf
Japeri is a very
Association of
poor
Japeri founder Vicky
municipality,
White.
the poorest in the whole state of Rio. There are very few jobs here, very few people are employed. So the children are here on their own, literally.
Now, Japeri Golf Program student Christian Barcelos speaks. His subtitles. Now it's become more dangerous. It's grown and it's not as safe as it used to be. Also, there are not many opportunities here. Very few, so life here is hard.
It can be hard to fathom that Japeri is just about 50 miles from the Gavia Golf and Country Club along Rio's Atlantic coast, one of those 2 private courses in the city.
Japeri is the first public golf course in the whole of Brazil. It's here in the state of Rio. So we formalized the golf school, hired the instructors. Now we have a booming project with 120 kids all going to public school in the area. This is a great chance at a better life.
Peter Dawson.
Probably the best example in the world, actually, of a golf project doing such good for an underprivileged area. And it's been running for quite some years now, and we've been delighted to support it financially and with some advice throughout the time.
Smiling kids wear bright white shirts and hats with the words Japeri Golf on the front.
Meet Felipe Gomez.
The boy hits a golf ball with a club.
Felipe never would have discovered the game without the Japeri Golf program. But every day after school, he makes the journey through town to play.
Now, Felipe sits next to his mother. Her subtitles. He began going when he was 3 years old. He loved to play there. He has grown up taking his classes and never stopped. On a golf course, Felipe swings his club and hits the ball.
The wonderful thing about Felipe, he's got this charming personality. Everything's happy for him. He loves to play golf, he loves to dance, he likes to sing. Everything's good for him.
Now, an older boy.
Christian Barcelos joined the program at age 12. Already, it's transformed his young life.
He learned a lot from this program. As you said, he's a very self-confident young man. He's taken full advantage of everything we have to offer him.
Christian subtitles. In the beginning, it went very fast. My mom saw how serious I was and started to motivate me. I think if I didn't have golf in my life, I would be different. I don't know what I would be doing. Now, kids carry clubs and big golf bags.
They are but a few stories of impact that Japeri Golf Program has already had. Of the success that the R&A has achieved.
Kids fill buckets with golf balls.
From the birthplace of golf, there is a pledge to grow the sport.
Manicured green lawns cover the course.
Here is where possibility lives.
Christian taps a ball up with his club.
Here, where the future of the game plays.
Felipe whacks a golf ball with his expert swing.
Rio was the epicenter of the sports world in the summer of 2016. And thanks to the Japeri Golf Program, the town will play host to the game of golf for years to come. Coming up on The Champion Within, world records and gold medals aside, learn why this great-grandmother knows best when it comes to track and field. Then, see how Justin Rose overcame hardships on the course and in life to become a champion. And when Olympic snowboarder Jamie Anderson isn't flying through the air, see how her family roots help keep her grounded.
Outside her home, the young blonde woman laughs with her family.
We'll be right back to The More You Know on NBC.
60% of women wear the wrong size pad and can experience leaks. You don't have to. With Always My Fit, try the next size up. and get up to 20% better coverage day or night. Because better coverage means better protection. Always.
Got directions to the nightclub here. And if you get lost, just hit me on the old horn.
Tom's my best friend, but ever since he bought a new house...
It's a $10 cover? Oh, okay. Didn't see that on the website.
He's been acting more and more like his dad.
Come on, guys, jump in. The water's fine. Tom Pritchard. How we doing? Hi there, Tom Pritchard. Can we get a round of jalapeno poppers for me and the boys, please? I've been saving a lot of money with Progressive lately, so...
Progressive can't protect you from becoming your parents, but we can protect your home and auto when you bundle with us.
I've always looked forward to what's next, and I'm still going for my best, even though I live with a higher risk of stroke due to AFib, not caused by a heart valve problem. So if there's a better treatment than warfarin, I'm up for that. Eliquis. Eliquis is proven to reduce stroke risk better than warfarin, plus has significantly less major bleeding than warfarin. Eliquis is FDA approved and has both. So what's next? Seeing these guys.
Don't stop taking Eliquis unless your doctor tells you to, as stopping increases your risk of having a stroke. Eliquis can cause serious and, in rare cases, fatal bleeding. Don't take Eliquis if you have an artificial heart valve or abnormal bleeding. While taking Eliquis, you may bruise more easily, and it may take longer than usual for any bleeding to stop. Seek immediate medical care for sudden signs of bleeding, like unusual bruising. Eliquis may increase your bleeding risk if you take certain medicines. Tell your doctor about all planned medical or dental procedures.
Eliquis, the #1 cardiologist-prescribed blood thinner. Ask your doctor if Eliquis is what's next for you.
What's the #1 new skincare product in 2018?
Oh my gosh, it's Olay. That's crazy. Olay Regenerist Whip.
Olay Whips absorbs faster than the $100, $200, and even $400 cream.
I feel like it just melted into my skin better. It's really smooth and it's not heavy. I really, really love this.
I will 100% swap out my moisturizer.
Can I have it?
Olay Whips. Try Whips with SPF 25. Finally, sun protection that feels light as air.
Not quite that, but it'll feel like it. York, get the sensation.
There's only one episode left before the ninja finale.
Gotta fly! Yes!
New Monday.
We now return to The More You Know on NBC.
The title, The Champion Within, appears over a stadium.
Welcome back to The Champion Within. I'm Lauren Thompson. At the 2016 Rio Olympics, South African runner Wade van Niekerk put together one of the greatest performances in track and field history when he broke the world record in the men's 400 meters. It was a proud moment for a man who was first put on the track by his mother and later shaped into a champion by a great-grandmother. In Bloemfontein, South Africa, perched high over the city, stands a towering figure of Nelson Mandela. The statue overlooks the University of Free State, where Wade van Niekerk arrived over 4 years ago as a promising student athlete.
Van Niekerk is running away with it in world record time.
Wade.
It was definitely a very special moment. The last 50 meters was very tough, but looking at the video, it doesn't look as tough as what I thought it was. I got closer to the finish line. People thought I was looking at the time, but I was actually making sure that nobody dips me or something.
At the end of the race,
Now,
Wade
after
peers
the
over
race
his
of
left
his
shoulder.
life, he's the reigning world champion.
Now, an older woman with white hair walks to a track field.
The unlikely steward of Van Niekerk's journey is Ans Bwada.
She blows a whistle.
Bwada began coaching athletics in her native Namibia 50 years ago, waiting for a pupil like the one now in her care.
Wade is really a very special person, and I just try every day to do my very best for him. Go, 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 and be a little bit chirpy about it.
Coach is not just a coach, she sees us as her children. And we started building that mother and son relationship as well. And she's like that with each and every one of us. I'm just grateful that I'm part of her journey and I can share this opportunity and this talent that I have with her.
He stretches on the field. Now, Wade stands in a kitchen. A woman melts butter in a hot pan.
Van Niekerk has taken advantage of opportunities that were unavailable to previous generations of South Africans, which included Van Niekerk's mother, Odessa, who was also a talented athlete, but competed during South Africa's era of apartheid, when only white athletes were permitted to compete internationally.
A lot of people ask, what if you had all these opportunities? What if? I don't want to think of the what ifs. My belief is that it wasn't meant for me, it was meant for him. I was just meant to be the mother of the champion.
Wade sits and laughs with his mom.
I had quite a few top athletes with so much God-given talents. And they never had the opportunity or the privilege to take part outside the borders of South Africa.
Van Niekerk is driven by more than his own ambition. He runs for his coach, finally reaching the sport's biggest stage, for his mother, who was denied the chance to fulfill her athletic potential, and for a nation, turning a troubling past into a distant memory.
There's so much people that contribute to where I am as an athlete today, and I'm glad that I could share that moment with such valuable people in my life.
Wade places his arm around his coach as they walk together.
Since the Rio Olympics, Van Niekerk has continued his success, winning gold in the 400 meters and silver in the 200 meters at the 2017 World Championships in London. Coming up next on The Champion Within, golfer Justin Rose reflects on his career and how he pays tribute to his father. And later, see how Olympic snowboarder Jamie Anderson finds both comfort and confidence when she's back in her hometown.
The sun sets over a mountain range. A title, The Champion Within.
We'll be right back to The More You Know on NBC.
Before I had the shooting, burning, pins and needles of diabetic nerve pain, these feet made waves in high school. Had a ball being a dad and built a career in construction. But I couldn't bear my diabetic nerve pain any longer. So I talked to my doctor, and he prescribed Lyrica.
Nerve damage from diabetes causes diabetic nerve pain. Lyrica is FDA approved to treat this pain, from moderate to even severe diabetic nerve pain. Lyrica may cause serious allergic reactions, suicidal thoughts or actions. Tell your doctor right away if you have these, new or worse depression, unusual changes in mood or behavior, swelling, trouble breathing, rash, hives, blisters, muscle pain with fever, tired feeling, or blurry vision. Common side effects: dizziness, sleepiness, weight gain, swelling of hands, legs, and feet. Don't drink alcohol while taking Lyrica. Don't drive or use machinery until you know how Lyrica affects you. Those who've had a drug or alcohol problem may be more likely to misuse Lyrica.
Now I have less diabetic nerve pain, and I love building memories that can't be washed away.
Ask your doctor about Lyrica.
No matter how much you clean, does your house still smell stuffy? That's because your home is filled with soft surfaces that trap odors and release them back into the room. So try Febreze Fabric Refresher. Febreze finds odors trapped in fabrics and cleans them away as it dries. Use Febreze every time you tidy up to keep your whole house smelling fresh air clean. Fabric Refresher even works for clothes you want to wear another day. Make Febreze part of your clean routine for whole home freshness.
What might seem like a small cough can be a big bad problem for your grandchildren. Babies too young to be vaccinated against whooping cough are the most at risk for severe illness. Help prevent this. Talk to your doctor or pharmacist today about getting vaccinated against whooping cough.
Add the Activia 2-week probiotic challenge to your healthy routine and see how Activia yogurt, with its billions of live and active probiotics, may help support your digestive health so you can take on your day. Start the Activia probiotic challenge today. It works or it's free.
Every act must push the limit and do it live. AGT Tuesday and Wednesday.
It's possible for people to sit down together and engage in cooperative problem solving. Create an atmosphere again where there's room for civil debate.
Connect with the candidates as 12 News proudly presents the Sandra Day O'Connor Institute Debate Series.
Questions, answers, unbiased coverage. 12 News. It's a matter of facts.
Attention! Upgrading your bathtub to a shower system can prevent fall-related injuries. The National Aging in Place Council suggests that eliminating an old bathtub for a walk-in shower can greatly increase bathroom safety. Introducing a new Kohler shower system that fits directly into your existing bathtub space and is engineered for safety and cleanliness. This month only, save 20% off a Kohler shower system with 12 months no money down, no payments, and no interest. Call the number on screen or visit DreamStyleShowers.com for this exclusive offer. Trust your Kohler project to America's #1 remodeling company, Dreamstyle Remodeling. With professional installation from Dreamstyle Remodeling and superior material by Kohler, you can count on your new shower to be premium quality. Save 20% on your Kohler shower system with 12 months, no money down, no payments, and no interest. This exclusive offer is only available by calling the number on screen or visiting DreamStyleShowers.com. Don't let yourself or your loved ones become a statistic. Bathing-related falls are no joke.
Follow 12 News on Instagram for everything Arizona.
Last season, nobody saw Philly coming.
What a play call. How do you figure?
That's the beauty of it. You never know how the season's going to end. But the beginning, oh, that's going to be wild.
We now return to The More You Know on NBC.
Title, The Champion Within, appears over a stadium.
Welcome back to The Champion Within. I'm Lauren Thompson. Tour pro Justin Rose became an overnight sensation with a dramatic 50-yard birdie at the 1998 Open Championship, where he finished 4th at just 18 years old. But after turning pro, it would be a long time until Rose saw glory on the greens again.
Golfer Justin Rose watches footage of himself at the 1998 Open Championship.
When I see that kid, I see it's almost like 2 lifetimes ago. I wish I could tell you I thought, okay, this is my last ever shot as an amateur, let's make it. You know, it wasn't really like that. It never really is. It was more just trying to appreciate the walk down 18, trying to appreciate the fact that I had a great week. And maybe that gratitude gave me the freedom to hit one of the shots of my life.
He hits a golf ball in tall grass. The ball flies through the air. Then it lands on the smooth grass near the hole. It rolls in.
You're kidding me.
The crowd just made the most insane noise.
Way to go, kid.
Pretty much as that ball went in the hole, I went numb. People have told me that's the loudest cheer they've ever heard on a golf course. I mean, it was such an outrageous way to finish.
In a dark room, Justin sits solemnly and stares at the video.
Pitching in on the 18th at Birkdale, it was the gift and the curse. Suddenly, expectations changed. And I'll hold my hands up, my expectations changed. I'm sure my dad, if he was here today, would have said his expectations may have changed, and certainly everybody around us. And that put an awful lot of pressure on me.
He swings on another course.
Poor old Justin Rose having a real struggle. He's 15 over par, not enjoying himself one little bit as he heads for his 21st missed cut.
Justin's swing coach.
We've become kind of used to seeing 17 and 18 and 19-year-olds contending, but that was 18 years ago. That never happened. So it was very different in that standpoint. And I think what happens is when you are compared to arguably your greatest 4-round tournament for the rest of your life, it can be suffocating.
Every time I was about to make a cut, there's cameras everywhere, which obviously added to the pressure, and invariably I'd like, miss the cut and tail between my legs and go home again.
Golf Channel analyst Frank Nabilo.
And it's weird when somebody's not doing well, 21 cuts in a row, it has to be the parents' fault. And I think it was tough for Justin. And then you find out that you're going to lose your dad.
Justin's wife, Katie.
I feel very blessed that I got to get to know his dad quite well and have that reference of who Justin had come from, you know, who's such a huge, important person in his life and such a big father figure, coach, best friend, mentor, the whole everything.
Ever since I'd grown up, my dad was, my rock. The relationship we had, the bond we had, all unbelievable. Obviously, for my dad, it was a tough 2-year battle, but when I look back at it, I'm grateful for what I was able to achieve in that short period of time to give him peace of mind.
Now, Justin holds a long golf club. He walks across smooth grass at a driving range, then swings.
2010 was the start of it for me, the start of where I really feel that I left the past behind. I won 2 times in 2010, but then I graduated up and I won a playoff event in 2011. I won a World Golf Championship in 2012. And I remember talking in the media, my progression is moving nicely. The next step's a major championship. In perfect sequence, 2013 rolled around and boom, Merion rolled around.
I mean, we'd had a text message in the morning where I basically explained to him, like, look, Rosie, today's Father's Day, so why don't you go out there on the course and be the son and man that your father raised you to be, and then let your kids sit at home and watch you on TV and be the man that you want them to see. So in the heat of the moment, how are you going to be?
I was driving to the course and sort of, just looked at traffic, looked in the rearview mirror, but kind of caught a bit of a glimpse of myself. And one thing my dad always said to me, he would always be able to read me. He would look in my eyes and say, all right, how you feeling today? Maybe just take a few breaths. So I kind of looked at myself and asked myself that rhetorical question of, I wonder how Dad thinks I'm looking today.
But here is Justin Rose, the most important tee shot of his life.
He faces the ball.
What I remember about playing the 18th hole was I could sense I was right there. I knew I was leading the US Open. But there comes a moment, I think, where the opportunity presents itself.
The wait is just about over for Justin Rose.
He's got the exact same yardage that he had on 17.
I had 234 left to the hole, 4-iron. I kind of gave up control and trusted myself. And what I really remember was saying to myself, okay, make the first 2 feet of the backswing really smooth and then just let it go.
In the 2013 US Open, Justin fluidly strikes the ball with his
at the
club.
center and drawing. If he's got the distance, it's a good shot.
Is it ever a good shot?
It wasn't that he'd won, it was the fact that he had fulfilled his own expectations of himself, because that's all his dad would have wanted, was for Justin to feel like he was fulfilling his promise.
That's what I found the coolest thing about winning the US Open, was how connected I felt to my dad. Again, he passed away 12 years prior too, and I would never have expected to be able to feel like he was right there. And to feel that way was just such a gift. And, I'll never forget that.
He kisses his trophy.
Rose is still creating legendary moments on the course. After 112 years, golf made its return to the Olympics at the 2016 Games in Rio. And Justin Rose took home the gold. Coming up next on The Champion Within. While she spends most of her time on the slopes, this Olympic snowboarder is going back to Cali to get some rest and relaxation.
She smiles and hangs out with her family.
We'll be right back to The More You Know on NBC.
Your mornings were made for better things than psoriatic arthritis. As you and your rheumatologist consider treatments, ask if Xeljanz XR is right for you. Xeljanz XR is a once-daily pill for psoriatic arthritis. Taken with methotrexate or similar medicines, it can reduce joint pain, swelling, and significantly improve physical function. Xeljanz XR can lower your ability to fight infections, including tuberculosis. Serious, sometimes fatal infections, lymphoma, and other cancers have happened. Don't start Xeljanz XR if you have an infection. Tears in the stomach or intestines, low blood cell counts, and higher liver tests and cholesterol levels have happened. Your doctor should perform blood tests before you start and while taking Xeljanz XR and monitor certain liver tests. Tell your doctor if you are in a region where fungal infections are common and if you have had TB, hepatitis B or C, or are prone to infections. Xeljanz XR can reduce the symptoms of psoriatic arthritis. Don't let another morning go by without talking to your rheumatologist about Xeljanz XR.
You're gonna do your thing, and no period is gonna slow you down. With Tampax, you get protection that moves with you for total comfort. Choose Pearl for your chill, Pocket for your moves, and Active for your hustle. Do your thing with Tampax.
Bottom line is, moms love that Lando Frost premium sliced meats have no byproducts.
Baloney!
Join the call.
Hey, Baloney here.
I thought this was a no byproducts call.
Lando Frost Premium, a slice above.
Not quite that, but it'll feel like it. York, get the sensation.
I've seen lots of homes helping new customers bundle and save big, but now it's time to find my dream abode. Right away I could tell his priorities were a little unorthodox. Keep going. Stop. A little bit down. Stop. Back up again. Is this adequate sunlight for a Komodo dragon? Yeah. Sure, I want that discount on car insurance just for owning a home, but I'm not compromising. You're taking a shower? Water pressure's crucial, Scott. It's like they say, location, location, koi pond. They don't say that.
Stop fearing your alarm clock with new ZzzQuil Pure Z's, a drug-free blend of botanicals with melatonin that supports your natural sleep cycle, so you can seize the morning. New ZzzQuil Pure Z's.
At Ashley Home Store, Labor Day deals are going on now. Through Monday, receive 0% interest for 6 years during our Labor Day sale. Hurry in. Sale ends Monday. Only at Ashley Home Store. This is home.
Heartburn and gas? Now fight both fast.
New Tums Chewy Bites with gas relief. All-in-one relief of heartburn and gas. New Tums Chewy Bites with gas relief.
Your teen has 500 followers, but how many do they really know? Kids may be good at avoiding dishonest people in real life, but what about online? With inappropriate contact, teach them to spot it, block it, and report it. The more you know.
We now return to The More You Know on NBC.
The title appears over a stadium as cameras flash from the stands.
Welcome back to The Champion Within. At the Sochi Olympics in 2014, snowboarding featured a new high-flying event called slopestyle. And American Jamie Anderson took home the first gold medal ever in that event, an achievement she couldn't have reached without her California roots.
A long wooden pier stretches out over a calm body of water. Trees loom high above the ground.
South Lake Tahoe is a very beautiful place. I love it. It's home for me.
She strolls through snowy woods.
And I feel so fortunate I did grow up here.
Snow-covered mountain peaks rise behind her. White birch trees grow around her wooden home.
Being in a family of 8 kids was a little bit crazy, I'm not gonna lie. 8 kids is so many. Like a little baseball team. We'd go to restaurants and it'd be like the Anderson crew is here. And we definitely had everything we needed, but we did a lot of shopping at thrift shops. Snowboarding being a really expensive sport to get into, I have so much gratitude that some family friends gave us a lot of hand-me-downs.
Video shows her snowboarding as a kid.
Sierra at Tahoe was kind of like our daycare. Me and my sisters would go up pretty much every day. It was such a special childhood. Kind of helped me get to where I am today.
As a girl, she slides across a ramp on her snowboard.
Anderson continuing to raise the bar.
Now, as a woman, she launches off a ramp and flies through the air.
It gets to be pretty crazy traveling and competing, and especially with the Olympics. I never really thought my sport would be in it. There's a lot of pressure and tension. It's just so fun to come home. You can slow down and kind of take a moment to chill out. It's just what I need to find that inner peace and hold that with me wherever I go.
Jamie smiles broadly. She watches the pink and purple sunset over the massive lake.
After winning gold in 2014, Anderson is now training to defend her Olympic title at the 2018 Winter Games in Pyeongchang, South Korea. Well, that's our show for today. I'm Lauren Thompson, and I'll see you next time right here on The Champion Within.
Credits for The Champion Within, hosted by Lauren Thompson. Executive producers Dave Morgan, Keith Allo, Pete Snyderman, and Brian Kerr. Copyright 2017, Litton Productions, LLC. Funding for video description is provided by the U.S. Department of Education. MTO Million to One Productions, and Litton Entertainment, Hearst Television.
Welcome to the Honda NBC Sports Desk.
And hi again, everyone. Jimmy Roberts here in our NBC Sports Studios. We will get you the Diamond League track and field from Zurich and Brussels in just a moment. First, though, a quick look back at some of the key games from the opening Saturday of college football, starting with a big rivalry game in South Bend, Michigan and Notre Dame. And the Irish came out scorching, touchdowns on each of their first 2 possessions. Brandon Wimbush connecting with Chris Fink, 43 yards on the score. Notre Dame wins it. Michigan has now dropped 17 straight road games against ranked opponents. Penn State got all they could handle from Appalachian State, down 7 in the final minute. Trace McSorley finds K.J. Hamler to tie it up. So we would head to overtime, and in the extra session, Miles Sanders goes in from 4 yards out. Penn State dodges a bullet with the 45-38 win. Top 10 battle between Washington and Auburn. Washington down 9. Jake Browning connects here with Quentin Pounce. Watch this. What a grab. Take another look. Shades of Odell Beckham Jr. Huskies within 2. Now Auburn down 1 in the 4th, and it's Jatarvius Whitlow taking it in from 10 yards out. Tough running. Auburn wins it Strong day for Jared Stidham, number 6 Huskies' highest-ranked team to lose. Maryland and Texas, Terps playing with heavy hearts in their first game since the death of offensive lineman Jordan McNair in June. Maryland would play inspired football led by true freshman receiver Ja'Shawn Jones in his collegiate debut. Here, the 20-yard touchdown pass, also caught a touchdown, ran for another. Terps win it. Maryland upsets Texas for the second straight year. And after the win over Michigan last night, Fighting Irish look to maintain their momentum Saturday as they face Ball State for the first time. Ball State, Notre Dame, Saturday, 3:30 p.m. Eastern on NBC. Quick reminder here on NBC after track and field, it's golf, the road to the Ryder Cup, and then the PGA Tour FedEx Cup playoffs continue with live third-round coverage of the Dell Technologies Championship. Meanwhile, plenty of motorsports today over on NBCSN. Verizon IndyCar Series racing from Portland starting at 2:30 Eastern. That'll be followed by one of the crown jewels of NASCAR, the Southern 500 from Darlington. All right, that's it. We will see you throughout the day. Right now, Diamond League Track and Field.
This has been the Honda NBC Sports Desk.
Just brilliant.
Double goal. Boy, does he deliver.
The most dominant in Olympic history.
Unbelievable.
This is a presentation of the Olympic Channel, home of Team USA.
The annual IAAF Diamond League circuit has reached its championship finals, with athletes seeking a trophy and a title in a winner-take-all competition. 21-year-old American Noah Lyles returns to defend his 200-meter title and complete an undefeated season at that distance. In the men's 100, it headlines with Americans Ronnie Baker and Christian Coleman, each wanting to stake a claim to being the world's fastest in 2018. And in an event dominated by American talent this year, world record holder Kenny Harrison and Olympic champion Brianna McNeil continue their rivalry in the 100 hurdles, now with a Diamond League title on the line. NBC Sports welcomes you to coverage of the 2018 IAAF Diamond League Finals. 32 champions to be crowned over 2 days of competition, starting in Zurich, Switzerland, in front of a capacity crowd for the Weltklasse Zurich competition. I'm Paul Swangard, joined by Otto Bolden and Josh Cox. 16 champions to be crowned in Zurich, starting in the men's 400 meters. The American Fred Curley will have a full introduction of the field here in a moment. This new structure to the Diamond League Finals, winner takes all.
And that's the way it should be. It used to be that we'd be figuring out who had to get third to be the Diamond League champion. This is the way it should be. When you get to the finals, if you win the finals, you should be the Diamond League champion.
As we take a look at the field, beginning in lane number 8, Llewellyn Santos. We were talking before the broadcast. You look at him at 24 years of age and realize how long he's been running. The Olympic Games silver medalist back in 2012.
That's because he won that silver medal at age 18. Paul Dedewell will be in lane 7, 27 years of age. Personal best this year, 44.43.
A man who almost quit the sport a couple of years ago before moving to Florida to train. Now the reigning European champion, Matthew Hudson-Smith of Great Britain. He'll run in lane 6.
Fred Curley was the NCAA champion last year. 43.70, his personal best. Only 44.33 in 2018.
Roll back the clock a year ago at London at the World Championships. This man, Stephen Gardner, took the silver medal. He's the second fastest man in the world this year, one of only 3 men under 44 seconds.
44.34 for Nathan Strother in lane 3 this year. He was on the U.S. team that won the NACAC championship in Toronto a couple weeks ago.
It's been a long season for this guy. Babaloki Tebe ran at the Commonwealth Games in Gold Coast in early April, took home the silver medal, makes the Diamond League final here in Zurich.
And rounding out the field, Peter Conradi of South Africa. Now here's what happens to the South Africans. Their season starts so early. His season's best was run on the 20th of February. So he is probably on fumes in terms of his fitness, having been running now for almost 8 months.
Well, as they get into the blocks, there is Matthew Hudson-Smith of Great Britain. Again, that reset of his career in Florida has done wonders for his career.
It really has. And Gardner, as the second fastest man in the world at 43.87, would have had lane choice. It's not a coincidence that he's gone behind Curley and Hudson-Smith. Those three figure to be the biggest factors in this race.
And Gardner last year here in Zurich slipped out of the blocks, did not finish the race. He is in lane 4, the favorite in the men's 400 meters. So the Diamond League finals are underway in 2018 in the men's 400 meters. Matthew Hudson-Smith with a strong first 100 meters there, already making up the stagger on Dedewo of the United States.
But Gardner has one ace that he can play. He has run 19.75 this year. That means he has more speed than anybody else in this field. So he's content to be conservative through the first 200. And now look at what he's doing to this field. He's using that foot speed to get the lead.
Oh, and Gardner has a little bit of trouble there on the turn. He stays in the race, but now is slowing down for the second consecutive year. Will not finish the race. Opens up the door for the American Fred Curley, and he will take the Diamond League title at 400 meters in 44.80.
So the Zurich luck continues to be bad for Gardner. He had the lead with about 130 meters to go. But when he pulled up, it was Fred Curley of the United States who was able to hold off Matthew Hudson-Smith and Strother and get the win.
And the Americans go 1, 2, and 4 in this opening Diamond League final in the men's 400 meters. And for Curley, who's had his highs and lows in this event, a huge win for him finishing off this season in 2018.
Yeah, it really has been up and down for him, as you said, all of 2018, his first year out of that amazing collegiate season last year at A&M. But this will feel very good. And $50,000 won't hurt that much either. So there's Hudson-Smith pre-race. There are Gardner's first steps. He looked great for 2/3 of the race. But then watch him pull up as Curley goes to his arms and is able to get to the line first and claim his very first Diamond League 400-meter crown. So for the second year, Gardner has just had the worst run of luck in Zurich.
So Fred Curley celebrates here on the track, the champion in the Diamond League in 2018 at 400 meters. That is the action on the track. As we also look ahead to some of the field event action today, highlighted by a couple of women's events. The women's high jump with Maria Lisitskene. She is the two-time world champion, has gone almost 2 years without a defeat, got beat just once so far in 2018. And the matchup with Sandy Morris, the reigning world indoor champion, and the reigning world champion, Olympic champion, Katerina Stefanidi of Greece. In the women's pole vault, they started this event early, but then had to take a 20-minute break as they were having issues with the standard that raises the bar. So that put Sandy Morris and the rest of the field in a little bit of a waiting game, which they are somewhat used to during the course of the season. I traded messages with Sandy yesterday. Says she's feeling good going into this competition after a couple of really tough performances the last two events. They had a lot of wind issues in the last Diamond League regular season event in Birmingham, but makes early work very easy work as she clears her opening height of the day. After a lot of silver placed into her trophy cases over the last several years, including silvers at the Olympics in Rio and the World Championships in London, a world indoor title in Birmingham, England in March of 2018. Says she likes the color gold much better than she likes the color silver. Those trophies up for grabs. One has already gone to Fred Curley. Back with more from Zurich in a moment.
The sun is low, I'm letting go of the pieces that I found. I'll pick them back up tomorrow and have another go around. And on through the longest of the night, when we see that distant light, we'll know we can pick it back up.
American Century Investments. We're more invested in you.
What do you mean it's not working out, Craig? I mean, I just introduced you to my parents.
Psst, Craig and Sheila broke up. What? Really? Craig and Sheila broke up? No. Craig and Sheila broke up. Oh, that one's coming. Craig and Sheila broke up.
Craig and Sheila.
As long as office gossip travels fast, you can count on Geico saving folks money.
Craig and Sheila broke up. What?
15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
Barbecue Pringles? Pizza Pringles.
You made barbecue pizza.
Wow. Add a jalapeno. Spicy barbecue pizza. Wow.
Wow. Wow. Wow. Stack flavors, make new ones.
Gravel. Toast life.
It's not just the ships, the armor, or the aircraft. It's something more. It's the will to fight and determination to win, found inside each and every Marine that answers a nation's call. Battles won.
Every big dream has a starting line. It's here where kids take that first step, first swing, first leap forward. Start your journey today at sportsengine.com.
Thursday, NFL football is finally back. It'll be a party in Philadelphia when the Eagles raise their first Super Bowl banner before taking on the Atlanta Falcons. The new NFL season kicks off Thursday, 7:30 Eastern, only on NBC. Back in Zurich, Switzerland, women's high jump competition. The first champion to be crowned in this Diamond League final in the field events, Maria Lisitskene, who had a 2-year unbeaten streak broken up earlier this year. Doesn't have much of a reaction, even though she has been the favorite in every competition over the last 2 seasons of competition. That a clearance at 6 feet 5.5 inches, and that was good enough to take the victory over Yulia Levchenko of Ukraine and Marie-Laurence Jungfleisch of Germany. As you look at the accomplishments of Lisitskene, 2 times a world champion, did not compete in Rio in 2016 because the Russian Federation was banned. She now competes as an authorized neutral athlete and now has her 3rd Diamond League title. As we go back to the track, as we welcome in Josh Cox for the coverage of the women's 800. There's the American record holder, Ajay Wilson. She'll start on the outside in lane 8, and next to her, Caster Semenya.
Yeah, one of the most dominating figures in all of sport, Caster Semenya. When she races this event, her specialty event, she's virtually unbeatable. Hasn't lost a 2-lap race since September 2015. Not quite Edwin Moses territory, but she's been very, very dominant.
Another person we've seen on the podium several times in the last several years, Francine Niyonsaba, trains in the United States with the Oregon Track Club, world indoor champion. And Atoya Gould of Jamaica has had a breakout 2018.
Yeah, bronze at Commonwealth Games and set the Jamaican national record of 156.15.
Now a professional 5-time NCAA champion while at the University of
10:15 on 12 today. You are watching live pictures of John McCain's procession as it makes its way towards the Naval Academy, his final resting place.
And of course,
morning.
Team 12 has coverage from the ground over there in Annapolis. It is closed off to the press, but Team 12's Mark Curtis and Bram Resnick have been there for the better part of 3 days now, and they've been giving us coverage on this entire procession as we're seeing it happen right now for Senator John McCain. We know that this whole ceremony is going to be, you know, the closure, the family has been looking for the last 7 days.
That's certainly right. Let's give you a rundown of what's going to happen. A private memorial service will take place at the U.S. Naval Academy, where they are headed, at the chapel. It's in Annapolis, Maryland. That's about 40 miles east of Washington, D.C. It's going to honor the life of the Senator, John McCain. Senator McCain's family, close friends, along with the U.S. Naval Academy class of 1958. Naval and military leaders and personnel will be there. The Brigade of Midshipmen have been invited to that ceremony as well. Right now, his body on the way there. They expect that service to get underway about 11 o'clock.
And this was after Leiden State at the Capitol there in D.C. and the Rotunda, one of the 31 Americans to ever lay there. Yeah, just such an honor. And of course, the Leiden State here at the Arizona Capitol earlier this week. We've been covering this story in and out, and we know that some of the pallbearers are going to be were POWs as well. So, you know, Senator McCain designed this entire funeral service and the events leading up to it, and it's just been pretty incredible.
Yeah, it's been an emotional 5 days since he passed away. Saturday, right around 5 o'clock, we were covering that when that news broke. Just it's been such an emotional time for Arizonans and people from not only Arizona but across the nation who expressed their gratitude for Senator McCain's service to this country. It's so well documented. In 1976, he was shot down, spent 5.5 years as a prisoner of war in what became known as the
Hanoi
Hilton,
as they affectionately call it, which is wild to think about, but they do.
Yeah, and when you think about his service, in '82, he became a congressman for 4 years. In 1986, he took over for Barry Goldwater and has since then served as our senator, nominee for the presidential election in 2008, and we certainly know Barack Obama beat him in that, but so graciously, President Obama spoke at his funeral service yesterday.
And he joked that this was McCain's attempt at a final laugh, and a sense of humor, getting his two opponents to speak and joke at his funeral. So we were glad to hear from them, as well as Meghan McCain yesterday. We heard some very stern words from her, as well as an emotional delivery as well. I mean, she's been heartbroken.
She's been an outspoken critic of the president. On that note, two gentlemen that have been on the ground there in Washington, D.C. over the past several days, Mark Curtis, Bram Resnick, covering it all for us live. Gentlemen, can you hear us? Oh, they're not there right now. Excuse me. I thought we were getting some guidance to talk to.
Well, we'll get some more details from them, but obviously everything in place as the private ceremony is about to take place in just a few moments. And you know what's really cool about all of this is that it goes back to the Naval Academy, where they are there now, in 1958, where John McCain graduated with his dear friend Admiral Chuck Larson. And you know what's so great about this whole thing? There's little pieces of silver lining, and Chuck Larson actually bought those 4 burials just ahead of his pneumonia in 2014, before he passed away, knowing that he wanted to be buried near his best friend and their spouses. So this has been a plan in the works for a very long time.
Yeah, it's interesting. Larson called Senator McCain his wingman, and they couldn't have been juxtaposed more oppositely. So famously, Senator McCain graduating basically the 5th at the bottom of the class, where Chuck Larson, #1 in the class, certainly high up in the rankings, was an admiral, just like Senator McCain's father and grandfather. Both classmates at the U.S. Naval Academy, Naval Air Station in Pensacola Flight School. Senator McCain, Admiral Chuck Larson developed that close friendship, endured throughout the years, and they will spend their final resting place together. So you're watching live pictures as Senator McCain's body is being brought into the Naval Academy, where, like Rachel said, he graduated in 1958, spent 4 years of his life there, went on to serve in the Navy, shot down in 1967, spent 5.5 years as a prisoner of war.
You know, we were talking a little bit earlier too, Lieutenant Jack McCain, his son, is going to be wearing his wings today at the ceremony. You know, there's little odds and ends ways that his children have been honoring him. Again, we heard Meghan McCain's intense speech yesterday, and there was just so many takeaways, and whether it was well received in Washington or here in the Valley or not, I mean, she spoke her piece and really stood by her words.
I think the thing that's resonating with a lot of folks is when she said to the effect that America never had to be made great because it's always been great. It's gotten some mixed reactions from those on the far right, but I think a lot of people appreciated her candor and what a lot of the political blogs are saying is, she's a fighter like her father,
like her dad,
John McCain, and
in her blood.
Yeah, and in fact, his direction for her speech at his funeral was to show them how tough you are. So, it's going to be interesting. I think the next step in all this is our political insider, Bram Resnick, has said the decision for Governor Doug Ducey, what does he do now? Because it's in his hands, and he certainly, as the governor said, he wants to pick somebody that is best for the state of Arizona. I'm starting to even hear Cindy McCain as somebody possible.
That's
but she's
been chatted about, yeah.
Yeah, and she's one that typically, she's gotten into politics sort of on the periphery, but she's not a true
kind of
person
grandfathered
that likes,
in.
yeah,
She
that
kind
likes
of,
Washington politics.
Sure, and yeah, big shoes to fill, as anybody can tell you, whether they were a fan of Senator McCain or not. He left a legacy behind, something we've been talking about for more than a week and for decades on end here in this great country. So big shoes to fill, but something Governor Ducey wants to get done sooner rather than later, because it is going to be back to business, and we have been mourning as a community and as a country, but the time will come to fill that seat, and it's going to have to be sooner rather than later.
Yeah, let's give you a rundown, kind of backtrack to where we started this week. Last Saturday, you and I were both on the desk when that news broke. It really shocked all of us. We knew it was coming, but then when it finally comes, it still has a major impact on you.
I don't think you can ever really, I know as a team we've been preparing for this once Senator McCain was diagnosed last July, and we've been trying to prepare and plan for the news to break, and then when it did, the emotional stance you take, you kind of try to separate yourself, but it's very difficult, and we saw that in Bram earlier this week too. Is it's hard to learn of the news of someone you've been covering for nearly 2 decades.
No question, and you as a native Arizonan, you feel that emotional connection. So Wednesday, I know I was out there when Senator McCain lied in state, and I shared this earlier in the broadcast. What I saw was not just the amount of friends and supporters he had, but it was what I'm calling the multitude of their makeup. I saw Hispanics, Latinos, blacks, whites, Asians, all from different political affiliations, who were openly sharing with me as a journalist, you know what, there was something about Senator McCain. I'm a Democrat, but you know what? He stood up for us here in Arizona, nationally, and he stood up for people around the world.
That was a really big takeaway when former Vice President Joe Biden spoke a few days ago. He walked up to the podium. He introduced himself, although he didn't need to do that. I'm Joe Biden. Yeah. I'm a Democrat, and I love John McCain. And it's so humorous to find so many people on the left side that were there to support Senator John McCain and to help him with favors and odds and ends things that he would so often ask for.
All right, you are watching live coverage. I'm Mike Gonzalez alongside Rachel Cole. Senator John McCain is going to be buried at the Naval Academy. And let's toss it out to Bram Resnick and Mark Curtis, who are there live. Gentlemen, what are you seeing?
Well, we're really not seeing anything because the procession will not be coming through the gate that we're in front of. It'll be coming through a gate that is more off the Maryland main drag, and we're understanding there are people assembled there, maybe not as many as we expected to see this morning, but I think that there are people that are feeling, and I would include myself in this, that it's time to give this family the respect that they need. They have shared their father, their husband, with so many others, and in Roberta McCain's case, her son, with America for the last week or so. And now it's time for the family to have their privacy.
Yeah, this will be a very family-oriented private service. Jack McCain, Lieutenant Jack McCain, the senator's son, will give a eulogy. He's a Navy helicopter pilot. He'll be wearing his father's Navy flying wings when he delivers that eulogy. Also, grandchildren, children are involved in the burial and the entire service. General David Petraeus, close friend of Senator McCain's, of course, very involved in foreign relations, military affairs for many years. He can count many generals among among his friends. General David Petraeus will be part of this ceremony, as well as several POWs who we had not seen before. These are really, the true band of brothers. Many of them surviving several years as POWs. Everett Alvarez, one of those POWs, served 8 years in a prison in Vietnam during the war. Incredible tale of survival.
And I think it says so much about how this shaped the legacy of John McCain. Obviously, he attended the Naval Academy here in Annapolis and then went on to become a Navy jet fighter during the peak of the Vietnam War. And then, of course, was shot down. And I think that his refusal to be released early, was the beginning of the Maverick's career.
It was the beginning of the Maverick's career, yet as we've often said, the Maverick truly was forged here at the Naval Academy. Right. McCain himself described himself as a rebel, maybe too much of a rebel during his time here. He just wasn't sure he wanted to be here at the Naval Academy following his father and grandfather's footsteps. He had to figure out how to fit in. We're not far from, we can see that wall behind us. There's a wall to the right, our right here surrounding the Naval Academy grounds. John Wayne hopped that wall many times and got demerits for it because he'd head out, and as folks always said, John McCain was where the party was.
He was a little bit of a legend here. I had a chance when I came down, and I was actually escorted around the Naval Academy grounds a few days ago, and to this day, his stories are legend among the plebes that come in, and what he was able to get away with is almost something that other young plebes aspire to do, because they want to see if they can either attempt, or maybe even exceed what John McCain did while he was here.
Well, you have to wonder if he was able to get away with it because his father and grandfather were both admirals and also Naval Academy graduates. We should also mention John McCain will be buried next to his close friend, Chuck Larson, Admiral Charles Larson. He died in 2014. We told you the story this morning about Charles Larson's wife just kind of finding out, from her husband, Charles Larson's widow, I should say, finding out from her husband that, many years before he had chosen plots for himself and his very good friend John McCain, and also their wives. So that's how his wife found out where she will be buried.
And it's interesting because you look at Chuck Larson, a guy who finished at the top of his Naval Academy class, and in the same class, John McCain, fifth from the bottom, and yet they became and were lifelong friends.
They were, and very different trajectories on their careers. First, Chuck Larson, first in his class. He became a fighter pilot and submarine commander, an incredible combination. He was one of the youngest admirals ever in Navy history, in his early 40s, I believe, maybe a 4-star admiral, and also went on to command the same Pacific Command that John McCain's father held, while John McCain was being held as a POW.
All right, so the long journey home for John McCain is beginning as the funeral procession makes its way closer and closer to the gate. Once it enters the gates here at the Naval Academy, that will be it. We will not see any more of what happens today. First, there'll be a service, we know, at the Naval Academy Chapel, and then from there he'll make his way down to these plots of land overlooking the Severn River.